some summertime, that's nice, hey, yeah. It's the IDP show, now you know.
Welcome to the IDP show. I'm your host, Josh Raymer, joined in the Sode Shack tonight. On my right, Adam Markham. On my left, Bobby Reynolds. Gentlemen, how are we this evening?
Doing good. Quarter of the way through.
It is pretty crazy.
Pretty wild.
It's already October. Favorite month of the year, Bobo? What's your favorite month?
October.
October's the best.
100%.
We get fall weather. We get football. It's playoff baseball. It's like tailgating, Halloween. Personally, I'm biased. Anniversary was yesterday. Birthday's tomorrow. So it's a month full of holidays for your boy as well.
I love it, man. It's a good time in Kentucky. Minus the allergies.
Yeah.
We're kind of hanging around with the pollen. You
Amazing weather.
Sure.
September, like mid-September, is like when it really starts getting good.
Yeah.
Once football starts coming.
That's good.
We were talking about that, how we kind of got a little cold snap, and then it's gotten hot again. I mean, the high today was like 86.
Yeah, it was too warm. It was too warm. We were outside for the anniversary yesterday, and your boy was sweating.
Yeah.
Your boy,
How many years?
12 years.
Wow.
It's been a long time.
Let's go.
Damn, son.
Yeah.
Let's go.
A lot of good memories of that
You've
day.
been married for a long time, too?
Yeah, it'll be 14 this year.
Look at you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got 7 coming up.
Let's go.
Shout out, Nat.
Let's go.
Oh, we're getting old, boys.
Remember that
That's the
podcast
moral of the
about
story.
the most attractive men in the NFL y'all did?
That feels like a long time ago.
Man.
Our worst episode ever.
Yeah, it's probably as our least downloaded. Don't tell the wives that, though. Tell them it's the
I
best.
think they did really good.
They did their best, and that's all we can ask for.
Sure.
Well, we're glad you guys are here. It
Like
is
Drew
the
Lock.
Week 4 recap podcast. Yes, we're recording during Monday Night Football. It is the Seahawks versus the Giants. Geno Smith, I guess, is out now. We're getting ready. We just kicked off the second half. I think Drew Lock is still in for the Seahawks.
Have
So
we had a good Monday night game yet?
I don't know, man.
Last week was
Feels like
stinker,
a
too.
lot of the primetime games. I did see where Sunday Night Football was the most watched game since the Super Bowl.
Well, duh.
So the Taylor Swift effect is real. I think the NFL's leaning into it a little too much, though, with the, Chiefs are 2-0 as Swifties bio for the NFL. Feels a little,
Was that their Twitter account or Instagram account?
I think it was their Twitter account.
Huh.
They're leaning into it hard right now.
It's
But it's working. I mean, they're making a lot of money.
It was very ironic that like the first commercial break last night was all of a sudden like her going out into the commercial, and then the first commercial was her, doing the whole Eras tour. I guess she's coming to like movie theaters or something.
They have a
In case
movie.
you can't afford her $1,000
Yes.
concert ticket, you could go see a $25 concert.
Yeah, if you don't want to take out a second mortgage to take your tween daughter to Taylor Swift.
But hey, good for her and Kelsey. They're both probably raking it in right now.
I was going to say, the content is flowing right now.
Yeah.
I mean, these two are...
Do y'all listen to the Kelsey pod?
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I've checked it out a little bit, even before all this stuff started happening,
I got you.
But yeah, I mean, I think they're funny dudes.
Really?
I think it's one of the only athlete-hosted podcasts that I would ever listen to.
Yeah, I think Jason's hilarious.
Really?
He's my favorite, yeah.
I
And
gotcha.
Travis is cool. I mean, and they have, good conversation with people.
The conversation with Chris Jones talking about his famous combine performance, where
That was a great episode.
his man parts
Sure.
fell out of his shorts, was just an amazing story. And I just love Jason's reaction to it, that, hey, at least you get to say it fell out. He's
Yeah.
like, I don't think that verb applies to anything that's happening for me. So congrats to you. So go check it out. Find the clip with Chris Jones. It really was hilarious to listen to his recollection of it.
We'll be appearing on New Heights pretty soon. So we're excited about that.
Yeah,
so.
check it out when they're circling the toilet and on about their third or fourth hosts at that point. So anyways, we're glad you guys are here. Week 4 recap. Boys, we had an all-time performance this week. We're going to get into it. But IDP scoring still looking pretty strong, boys. We actually had Aaron, God bless him, put in the doc for us. He's got it. Elite seekers, players who have scored more than 40 points in a single game this season. And we only had one in week 1. I think we had a lot of like 30 and 25 point games that week because I remember scoring was pretty high. We had a ton in week 2. So TJ Watt was the first one in week 1. Micah Parsons, Trey Brown, shout out Trey Brown, Alex Highsmith, and Daniil Hunter from week 2. Week 3, we had quite a few as well. Kyle Hamilton, Myles Garrett, Terrell Bernard, Nalante Taylor, And then week 4, listen to this collection: Khalil Mack, Nicholas Morrow, Harrison Smith, Deron Bland. What I'm learning, y'all, is that this group is a lot of like very established players and a lot of random guys. A lot of DBs who got like multiple sacks or multiple interceptions.
Yeah, really weird. But I mean, that's how it goes. That's IDP. I mean, you can have these guys, these no names.
Yep.
Just come out of nowhere and have monster weeks, 2 picks, return one to the crib, sack out of nowhere. That's just how this stuff goes. That's what makes IDP so much fun. I mean, most of these people, I'd say that were the ones that had 40 burgers in week 4, probably most of them weren't started. I mean,
yeah, Nicholas Morrow, Deron Bland.
Harrison Smith even had been really struggling, and same with Khalil Mack.
Yep.
I know he was on my bench in a couple leagues.
Yeah, might even been on your waiver wire.
Some of these guys that if you mix them into a some of these guys if you mix them into a the best ball type category, some of these are the guys that are going to win you like a crazy best ball league. Yes, I did drop Khalil Mack prior to the game Sunday, and I don't really feel that bad about it. Contract driven league. I was about to not start a cornerback at all if I didn't make some type of cap move. So yeah, I mean, he hadn't done much. And it's looking like it's Thule T's time, so I don't know. Felt like a good time to move off.
What's the opening bid you're putting in?
Oh, I don't care really. I don't know.
He's put in like $5 million.
You're putting people in IR to clear cap.
Dude, I don't have any money in that league. I have like $500K, so maybe I'll put a league min bid in just for
league min bid.
You're gonna put that min bid in though, aren't you?
Sure I will.
Yeah. Do you want to because you roll him out next week, he's getting you 3 1/4.
Yeah.
I mean, guaranteed.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
So frustrating.
Yep.
But we're going to go through every game and recap some of the notable scores for both sides. So, gentlemen, let's jump into it. And let's start with the London game / Toy Story game. Bobo, I know you were up watching when the glitches were going on.
Sure.
I think they had some technical difficulties, some snafus from Andy's room. But once they got that thing cleaned up, that was pretty fun. I had a good time watching the Toy Story game with my 3.5-year-old.
Yeah, we were trying to navigate it and kind of figure out what was going on. But you're right. It was a good time after they figured it out. Early on in the game, the balls would just like all of a sudden get back in the claw and like jerk back off of the field. And it was weird there for 5 to 10 minutes of the game. Booger was kind of trying to figure out how to talk NFL and also to children.
Not talk about ayahuasca and Aaron Rodgers.
That was the funniest part, though, is that my kids recognized like Booger's voice. They're like, "Hold up, is that Booger?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's him."
I thought for sure that was Joe Tessitore. That sounded so much like Tess, but it wasn't.
No, it was.
It was some other random guy that I've never heard of.
I saw his name somewhere, but yeah, it was him and Booger.
So they got the London game. I'm telling you, boys, just get used to early football because I just have a spidey sense in about 5 years the Jags are going to be in London.
I love it.
So I just saw that
the
Jags are there all week.
They're there.
They play the
2
Bills
back-to-back
again
games. Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's
get
gonna
used
happen.
to the Jags being there because they ain't staying in Jacksonville long.
Well, I mean, the owners
That's
already put it out.
Shad Khan.
Yeah, like, hey, do y'all want the Jags to stay in Jacksonville? Like, if you do, you're going to have to pay up for a new stadium. And I don't blame the people at Jacksonville for saying, no thanks.
Yeah.
That's every study that's ever been done shows that is a bad return on investment for the taxpayers. So
Urban Meyer just did that town in.
Yeah.
Where do you stand on the morning games?
Love it.
Yeah.
It's the best.
It's the best. You
I'm
wake
up.
up and football's there.
Now,
You don't have to wait 3 hours.
I will say I do hate how it's
Or more.
moving from like network to network. I wish they could just get on one because sometimes it's on NFL Network, sometimes it's on ESPN.
This
Plus.
was ESPN Plus.
It gets a little bit frustrating. That's the one thing that aggravates
Get
me.
used to that. They're gonna have it on like the gas station TVs, like when you're pumping your gas. They're gonna have it
I hate that.
in the back of a Uber on the TV that's in the headrest. I mean,
Taylor Swift network.
yeah, the Tamagotchis that your kids are buying. I mean, this one only accessible on the new Kindle tablet. I mean, just the fragmentation of NFL games is whatever they can do to make $1. They're going to do it.
Did you see that Travis Kelce gained like 1 million Instagram followers in like a day or something?
Yes.
Can you imagine just I'm not on Instagram, but like just watching the follows come in, like I don't even know how you would track that. I don't know how you keep up with that kind of stuff
It'd be terrifying.
It
It's my
is.
worst fear is to have a bunch of followers
on Instagram.
on anything.
It's my dream.
It's Adam's dream. That's all he
It's
wants.
all I care about, guys. Make sure you hit that follow and subscribe and like, and make sure you comment too.
Don't like or follow or comment on me, just Adam. Thank you very much. Let's talk about Falcons. David Onyemata, been very solid so far for IDP. Another good week. 21.6 points. He'd been averaging 11.42 the first few weeks, 67% of snaps. Jesse Bates continues to be a phenomenal DB start for you. 17.5 points, 19.77 average the first 3 weeks, 100% of snaps.
DB3 on the season.
DB3 on the season. Richie Grant, 14.75 points, 100% of snaps. And there he is, Ocean Man's human alter ego, Nate Landman, 11.5 points, 82% of snaps. So that was the Atlanta Falcons. What do we think about that group there, Addy?
I think Onyemata has been really good, and I think he's someone that you should definitely be adding and probably starting if you aren't already at this point in your DT required leagues. And even those leagues where you're starting like 4 defensive linemen, if he keeps on doing what he's doing, yeah, I mean, he's worth a start there as a DL3-4 type. So
ain't nobody else doing anything in Atlanta.
Right.
D-line.
He's at him and Grady, and Grady Jarrett will occasionally have some decent weeks, and he should probably improve on what he's done so far this year. But Jesse Bates has been awesome.
You're firing up both these guys, right? But especially Jesse Bates.
Yeah, I mean, the tackle numbers have been great this year for Jesse Bates. And Richie Grant, he kind of returned to form as far as the tackles go. So then, Nate Landman. I mean, this just proves the point that, you can just plug these linebackers in whenever someone goes down with injury. And Landman seems to be the latest example of this. So
Landman.
10 tackles to start, 82% of the snaps. I mean, that's a great, debut as a starter for Landman.
Troy Anderson is out the rest of the season, torn pec surgery.
I guess Landman did start in week 2, didn't he?
Yes, because Troy had the concussion.
Troy, is he one of these types that's going to be getting banged up all the time?
I hope not, man.
I know.
10 RAS just go to waste.
I mean, it's kind of reminds me of like David Long or like JOK. Some of these like super athletic freaks just can't really stay on the field.
I know it. Let's talk Jags. Josh Allen, big week from Mr. Allen, 37.85 points. He'd been averaging 16.85 the first 3 weeks. Had 3 sacks and a forced fumble, 91.7 PFF grade. Darius Williams, DB, had a good game, 35.85. He had the pick 6. And then Andre Sisco, 19.8 points, 12.75 through the first 3 weeks. He had a TFL and an INT and a PD on 83% of snaps. Foyce Adeluican, what else do you expect? 22.75 points. He's been awesome. 15.67 through the first 3 weeks. He had 9 total tackles, 3 TFLs, and a fumble recovery, 100% of snaps. And then Tyson Campbell rounds out the group with 15 points on 100% of snaps. So, God, if you had players going on either side in this game, but especially on the Jags side, you were feeling great here to start the morning.
Josh Allen, another one of those 3-sack games. What's he going to do next week, though?
Probably 4.5 points.
Because, he's averaging 16.7 weeks 1 through 3, but let's dig a little deeper.
Yeah, let's look at the log.
39.3 week 1, 3.25 week 2, 7.5 week 3, and then, of course, 37.85.
So he has 2 games now of 3 sacks.
40-point towers and then 4-point average here in the middle.
So, I mean, what do you do with that? Because, honestly, I made a trade in the offseason with Macri and sent Josh Allen off, and there was some cap stuff involved. But, I don't know. There are weeks like this where you're like, dang, what did I get rid of Josh Allen for? But then there's the week 2 and 3 where it's like, man, I'm glad I don't have to deal with this.
You start him because you don't want to miss out on these weeks, and he's getting the volume. But
if you're the Jags, are you paying him?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
We talked about that a little bit last week, that you can't let this guy get out the door.
So far, he's kind of like the Chris Jones.
I was thinking the
edge.
exact same thing.
Has these monster blow-up weeks, but then, the valleys are down there.
Becoming our best ball champion.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Better for best ball.
Yeah.
That team's pretty nice, though. If you got a Chris Jones, Josh Allen stack, and maybe like rounds 2 and 3 for best ball. Let's talk about the next game, though. Bucks kicking things off with the Saints.
Dude, if Khalil Mack hadn't done that this week, there's a chance that maybe he wasn't going to score 80 IDP points all year.
The rest of the season. Yeah.
I disagree.
I thought about you this week because you're like halfway.
He's number 2 now, I think.
Is he really?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Let me look.
We need a couple more weeks to even out this scoring.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
That's accurate. TJ Watt is 1. Khalil Mack is now number 2.
So
24.7 points per game for Khalil.
See, this is why you have to dig deeper, folks.
It went 2.5, 10, 5.2 and 81.
Hey, but folks, what did we talk about on last week's episode? We talked about his pressure rate. 14.8% pressure rate now on the year for Khalil Mack.
good.
It was 11.5 before this past week. I think he had like 9 pressures.
Nice.
We missed the revenge game narrative. Khalil Mack hates the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, I forgot all about that.
Hates
Oh,
the
my
Las
goodness.
Vegas Raiders. And so that
Should've seen
was
that coming.
that intangible motivation, I think, was what fueled him on probably
Absolutely. And
five,
then it's, you know,
5 out of those 6 sacks.
Rookie quarterback. It's always a nice recipe. So.
That's on Evan and Jake. They should have.
They should have flagged this with us.
Did they recommend you doing that? Was that their fault?
I never heard it. I never heard it from them,
Yeah.
guys.
We're going to have a talk about this. You didn't see the Khalil Mack revenge game coming.
Send the Jalen shirt back.
No, I'm not going to do that, Bob.
It's too sick. It's too swaggy.
It's cursed.
Let's talk about the New Orleans Saints. Brian Brissy, defensive tackle, 21.2 points on 45% of snaps or snacks, whatever you want.
Sure.
Isaac Yiadom, there he is again. What's up with this guy?
Paulson Adebo is out again, but yeah, I mean, if he keeps doing stuff like this, maybe we do have to take him
Yiadom.
serious.
That's right,
fun name.
13.25 the first 3 weeks and 21 points here. Malcolm Roach, 12.5. Pete Warner, 8.5. And Cam Jordan, 6.5. Is Demario Davis just straight up droppable at this point?
I wouldn't. I mean, the tackle stuff has always been a thing with him, but I mean, he is the guy that's, I think, had like, at least 5 sacks like every year for the past.
Are you ever going to start him, though?
As like a LB4.
Buys are coming, and he might be playable.
And also Pete Warner's. I mean, if we're talking about
Yeah.
people that are
8.5.
kind of bums, like Pete Warner's kind of a bum right now.
10.3 points average weeks 1 through 3, 94% of snaps.
And I'm hoping this is me like kind of massaging his shoulders like I did Logan Wilson last year. Gonna talk trash about him. I'm a bum.
Yeah, Pete, you're no good.
What are you doing, Pete? I mean, you're not giving us the big plays that we need, buddy. I mean, the tackles are fine, but we can get that anywhere. So we need the big plays to start coming.
Brian Brissy, it is good to see a game like that out of him. I think he was a first-round pick actually for the Saints this year. So there's a lot of people who are kind of keeping an eye on him. He was probably free in a lot of drafts, but nice to see a nice little game out of him. They need some interior pressure. Sorry, I know.
I do like him. He is. I mean, he's done good so far.
Yeah.
Early on.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
Yeah,
Let's talk about doing good early on.
DB number 1.
Yeah, DB number 1, Antoine Winfield. God,
Wow.
love this guy so much.
How you feeling about that trade? I heard you and Macri talking about. Remember the Dre Greenlaw and the Byron Young? How you feel about it now, big boy?
A little recency bias. Still feel pretty good about the side
Byron
I
Young?
took.
I got Byron Young.
Winfield's been good, though. He's
What
been
league we
great.
talking about?
He's been real good.
Yeah.
Like he's been the last 4 or 5 years.
Hey, I've had him the past 3 or 4 years in our main league and feeling great. Got him and Javon Holland.
Y'all gonna fight?
Yes, we are. We're going to kiss.
We're rocking and rolling. I'm going to kick you out is what I'm going to do.
Antoine Winfield's first 4 weeks, 29, 11, 10, 34 points.
Yeah. Just
Golly.
a
Pretty good.
fantastic start.
Dude, and you're so right too, Adam, that Antoine Winfield is the type with his usage. It's like, doesn't matter where homie lines up, that dude's going to put some points up.
Yeah, I mean,
Regardless.
he's never been ideal
Yeah.
for, usage. But, I mean,
That's okay.
and the more and more you look into that stuff, the more it's hard not to question, like, how relevant it is. Because when you look at, like, these top defensive backs right now, they're not all just dominating the sweet spot.
Exactly. Exactly.
A lot of these playmakers are the ones that are playing deep. And it doesn't matter if they're deep, they're still going to find a way to get to the ball.
Yep. Couldn't agree more.
It's heresy. You know that's heresy.
I'm just saying, just look through the top performers right now, and then if you want to compare it to sweet spot percentages, you can do that.
Let's
Not a lot of correlation.
Let's do this real quick with DBs. DB 1, Antoine Winfield. 2, Dax Hill. 3, Jesse Bates. Deron Bland. Kyle Hamilton. Brian Branch. Hopefully he's okay. Alante Taylor. Harrison Smith. Jordan Whitehead. Javon Holland. Darius Williams.
Really, there's a lot of guys in there that have those big boom weeks, like Whitehead, Harrison Smith.
And it's still pretty early on to be looking at
Yeah.
total points on the year, but still.
I don't have all the sweet spot percentages out there right now, but just looking at the top 3, it's Antoine Winfield, Dax Hill, and Jesse Bates.
Yeah.
That's DB 1, 2, and 3, and then their sweet spot percentages: 37% for Winfield, 38% for Dax Hill, and 38% for Jesse Bates. So interesting.
Getting the big plays.
Interesting.
That helps. Let's keep it rolling, though. Vita Vea, very good week for Vita. Glad to see him out there. 10.25 average to the first 3 weeks, goes for 25.15 points. D. Delaney was number 3, 14.15. Carlton Davis with 9, and Zion McCollum with 9 as well. No Devin White, no Levante David, no bueno.
Yeah, Devin White's been a bit of a bummer.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of how he was last year. You know, we're still kind of chasing that. What year it was, like
2019?
Yeah,
2020?
whenever he
That
had
sounds
like
right.
that 9 sacks, you know, like the 150 tackle, 9 sack season.
I think he was LB1 or close to it that year.
It just seems like it's been like a step down every single year since then. So, yeah, not really what you want to see.
Up and down. Week 1, Devin White 15. Week 2, 7. Week 3, 20 points. But then week 4 was a poo poo, 4.7 points.
Yeah,
Not great.
But-
Levante David, same thing though. But you know, they're alternating back and forth on who's having
Yeah,
good games.
David had a turd week too, and
Yep.
Levante David went off last week. So yeah,
Just hot and cold. It's
Yep.
weird for them. Usually they're both in kind of that Logan Wilson window of like 10 to 15 points, but especially Levante David.
he's getting older too, though.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're working in Servassier at all. He getting any snaps?
Not with
No,
those two guys. Those
don't
two guys are
think so.
100% snap players.
Not unless it's like, you know, garbage time or something.
Injury.
I got you.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the next game here. Not much to talk about on the Steelers side. A complete and utter washout. I think it was a 30-6 game between the Texans and Steelers. C.J. Stroud looks very good, boys.
That's a good defense to
So-
do that too.
Yes, that is a very impressive to hang 30 on the Pittsburgh Steelers. You got Mike Tomlin fired up, saying there's going to be changes.
They're gonna be changes. You're dang right. There's gonna be changes.
Yeah, so let's talk about the Steelers side quickly. Landon Roberts, 17 points. Levi Wallace, 13. Minka Fitzpatrick, 11.75. Patrick Peterson, 9.25. Alex Highsmith, 8.75. Notice I did not say TJ Watt's name.
Yeah.
Just one of those weird games. It happens. The Texans, though, much more interesting. Jonathan Grenard blew up 32.05 points. 5 tackles, 3 TFLs, 2 sacks, and 3 QB hits on 54% of snaps. So great week for Jonathan Grenard. The DBs also played well. Steven Nelson, 17.8. Shaq Griffin, 14.5. There's old-ass Jerry Hughes. 51% of snaps, getting 14.05 points. And then Henry Tuo, 13.75 points on 95% of snaps.
Led the team. Linebacking snaps.
That's right. 28 tackling grade, though. So,
Sure.
Yeah, he's not looked good when he's out there.
it's kind of feels like another Christian Harris situation.
Who was getting a lot of playing time
Who
now
got
as
more
well.
playing time.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw he's shot back up over Blake Cashman. So, I don't know what to make of that linebacking core there.
I think they need Denzel Perryman to come
Yes.
back. I think Henry 202 is still too young for him to just really kind of throw to the wolves. But
Is he the LB2 now though, Henry?
I think so.
Yes, I think he is.
Yeah, I think so.
When Perryman's back, I think it's him and Hanky Two Toes.
And
is
Christian
John.
Harris he'll get the LB3 snaps. Like, and they do actually use a third linebacker there. Like, think about in San Fran last year, whenever Aziz Al-Shir he got like 30%. Like, not you can't use him obviously, but I mean he'll get snaps.
He'll be relevant if one of those other guys get hurt.
Right.
That's right. That's kind of the indicator you want to pay attention to. Is like if one of these guys goes down, Christian Harris probably is going to get some run.
Grenard now with 3 sacks on the season.
There we go.
He had almost 20 points in week 1 and now a 32-point game in week 4. So,
I think that Texans team is feisty.
yeah.
I think them and the Colts are feisty. I think the Titans are just like zombies. You're going to have to chop their head off to kill them.
And if you're looking at matchups, they have some real turd games coming up. At Atlanta, then New Orleans, then they're bye, and then they're going to Carolina in week 8. So some more opportunities for Grenard and Will Anderson to kind of lick their chops here the next little stretch. I like Grenard still. I still think he's really relevant. 26 years old, 6'3", 263 out of Florida. If he can just stay healthy, health has been one of the big key factors for him. He had that little stretch a couple years ago that kind of perked my ears. And I don't know. I just wonder what the correlation there with him and D'Amico Ryans is.
Yep.
If D'Amico's liking what he's seeing, if you know, I don't know.
I feel like he has to be.
Sure.
You know, I mean he's done a good job, but Grenard kind of feels like a nice little sell.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't disagree.
What's the
with that.
snap spin? I mean, he was on 54% of snaps this week. I mean,
Yep.
that's not great for an edge rusher.
Only 32 snaps.
I just like what's his ceiling? You know, is he going to be
8
one of
sacks.
these? Yeah, right. Is he going to be one of these guys that consistently can get us over 8 sacks a season? I don't know.
Sure.
Not at that volume.
I don't know. I think this is a nice time to sell someone like that, you know, because you can kind of talk yourself into like, oh, he's 26.
Grenard goes off for 15 sacks this
You're
year.
a defensive player of the year.
And I mean that could easily happen, but I don't know. Just as someone that doesn't have a lot of market value yesterday
Big
now
name,
does.
yeah.
Yes.
You know, you put up 30 points and I don't know. It just could you get a 3rd round pick for him, and is that enough for you to move him?
For Grenard, yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, because think about the guys you're getting in the 3rd round of rookie drafts.
I would say try to get a second.
No one's giving you a second.
I know
dude.
that, but I'm saying ask for a second.
Start
and
with
then
a
let 'em fall
second,
back to
piss the
third.
So you can
trade
just,
partner
yeah,
off.
so you can just
no,
annoy them.
No.
Not everyone.
Tune into the IDP trade show where we talk about things like this.
You're on one tonight. I'm gonna have to give. I'm gonna
He
mute
is.
your mic.
He is.
Let's talk about the Colts and
I'm gonna go
Rams.
get a second for Grenard real quick.
This was the Josh and Bobo Bowl.
Sure was.
Very fun game. Went into overtime. Puka Nacua wins it, walk-off style.
Hey.
I think Puka may be for real. But
Who's
Dio,
singing at that halftime show?
what halftime show?
The Bob and Josh Bowl.
Who's singing at halftime
Yeah,
of
yeah.
that?
Duh.
Who's singing at halftime of that?
You tell me.
I don't know. I don't really do
A
music.
little fire and bone.
There you go.
You know?
I like that. That's the Killers, right?
Sure.
There you go. That's who's singing. It's the Killers.
The correct answer was Sugar Daisy.
Sugar Daisy. Well, whoops. Sorry, everyone.
Sugar Daisy.
Yeah.
But we love your music and thank you for letting us use it for all these years.
Yes, truly. Maybe we should be paying them royalties at this point.
We just completely forgot.
Oh, let's talk about, we really dropped the ball on that one.
sure.
Colts, though, their IDPs did not drop the ball. Dio Odangbo, 35.5 points, 7 total tackles, a TFL, a sack and a half, a forced fumble, a PD, and 4 QB hits on 59% of snaps. The defensive line is very good, and he's a big part of the reason why. Kenny Moore, 21.75 points after 7.42 points per game the first 3 weeks, 100% of snaps. There's Zaire Franklin once again. I think he's LB1 right now, points-wise. 18.1 points after 23.47 the first 3 weeks. He had 13 total tackles, half a sack, 1 QB hit, 91% of snaps. Dallas Flowers, 15.5, and Julius Brents, 10.75. I'm pretty sure Kwity Paye put up a 0.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to watch a lot of this game. Did he get hurt, or was it just one of those games where just nothing doing?
I think he got hurt.
Yeah, I was out celebrating the anniversary with the family. I got to watch like the last quarter of this game, but checked in on Kwity Paye afterwards and was like, "Oh, that's super fun." 0 points because Kwity had been, I think, above 15 points every game so far this season.
Yeah.
So that was very disappointing.
I appreciate you for vamping. I wasn't able to get
That's
it pulled
okay.
up.
I appreciate you trying.
So
But,
on, wow, 52 snaps.
52 snaps.
Okay, so it
0.
didn't do anything.
It's a big old goose egg.
It happens.
Yep.
Zaire Franklin, though, good Lord.
Yeah.
14.3 tackles per game this year, 18.9% tackle rate. That's just nuts.
On pace for one of the greatest linebacker seasons we've ever seen.
Yeah.
As far as tackles, total points.
And homie's going to continue. I mean, because Shaq Leonard is getting less and less snaps every
It's
single
happening,
week.
folks.
And Adam's exactly right. EJ Speed is the one who is he's up and coming. So if for some reason EJ Speed is still out there on waivers, which he definitely shouldn't be, but
This will
gosh,
be a
pay
big week
attention to
for
him.
him to get picked up with
Yep.
the Shaq Leonard back stuff.
Yep.
As
Yeah.
we'll get to.
Yep. So I know John and I, we disagreed on whether EJ Speed was going to take Shaq Leonard's job. I think the consensus around this table, I told him, was that that's happening.
Yeah.
You're seeing it more and more. I think by the end of the season, it's going to be Shaq Leonard. Maybe, I don't know when he would spell EJ Speed, and I think that's probably part of it is like Shaq can't play passing downs. So if you put EJ Speed into Shaq's role, then Shaq's just off the field. So
And you're very right. Even when Shaq's out there, he's lumbering around. He's not near as athletic as he used to be. That 2019, 2020 Shaq Leonard is just a That's a thing of the past.
It's a very long way away at this point.
Kind of like Jamal Adams tonight. That's pretty bad
Yes.
about Jamal Adams. I felt
mean,
bad for him going out.
Our
early on.
injury-prone Kings, Joey Bosa, Shaq Leonard, Jamal Adams, all having banner seasons in that regard. So, but let's talk about, a player who's had plenty of banner seasons, Aaron Donald for the Rams, 19.1 points, 11.48 through the first 3 weeks, 4 tackles, 2 TFLs, a sack, and 2 QB hits on 81% of snaps. Ernest Jones continues to be a top 12 LB, 17.8 points, 15 points per game average the first 3 weeks, 10 tackles, 1 TFL, and a sack on 100% of snaps. He is so good. Russ Yeast was number 3, 9.75. Michael Hoyt. I heard him pronounce it, and I think it was actually Hoyt.
Yeah.
Edge rusher, 8.25 points. And then Akello Witherspoon had 11 points. So
the Michael Hoyt experiment is not working. I've heard a lot of people within the Rams organization get pretty mad at that.
I think there's a reason why we don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Exactly. Oh gosh, somebody pick six. Daniel
Oh
Jones
my dog!
with
Who is
him.
it?
Wisdom Spoon. Oh my lord, dude.
Gosh, Adam might be coming back on me. How many points is this gonna be?
yeah, you're down
gonna
like
have-
100,
Dude.
right? To
Yeah,
Bobo.
having a bad week.
How
But this is tight.
how far down was he? That was within the 5. Had
Dog,
to be.
it was
This is
like,
that's the most Daniel Jones night ever. Fumble recovery, I think, for a touchdown, and then or just a fumble recovery period, and then a pick six.
Let's
So
go.
27-yard
holy,
interception return.
they are in hell right now.
But to go back to the Rams, yes, Ernest Jones is amazing. Aaron Donald obviously is who we thought he was. I mean, Ernest Jones, are you as impressed as what we thought 100% snap season was going to be for him? Are you where are we at on the Ernest Jones scale? I mean, obviously I'm over the moon. Just that my Rams are 2-2, to be honest with you. But Ernest Jones, as far as like an IDP value, y'all up, down,
Feeling great.
yeah,
Great.
Everything we thought he was going to be.
okay.
Yeah, it just feels good like when someone comes through like that. You know, you're like, that's what you kind of expected. It's You're kind of like hoping that he does. You're kind of hyping him up, and then he follows through it. It's always a great feeling.
Do I need to apologize to you
For
for our prior feud about me saying that Ernest Jones has already broken out, and you were very adamant that hadn't happened yet? Are we seeing that now? Is this a Josh breakout for you?
I mean, he's getting 100% of the snaps. That's what
so
happens
that's
when you
what's
go.
a breakout for you is the snaps.
Well, the opportunity that's come with the snaps. He's upped his points per game average. He's upped his snaps.
Another fight, guys, please.
Yes, I think we're seeing another. You could call it a mini breakout last year, but this is the full-fledged. Everyone in IDP knows who
said
Ernest
it.
Jones is.
He said it. I was right. That's what that means.
Exactly right. Yeah, I think he did kind of break. I think Bobby kind of maybe right on that one. He did kind of break. He just the tackle rate was great last year. But you are also right. The opportunity.
He was IDP relevant last year.
The thing about last
This season,
year,
he is a IDP stalwart.
He just needed the snaps.
Yes.
the thing that people or everybody disagreed with last year about Ernest Jones was that going into the season, everybody was like, well, this is a one linebacking scheme. You're basically just going to see Bobby Wagner. And that was where people were wrong because it was obviously, I mean, Ernest Jones played almost 70% of the snaps alongside of Bobby Wagner's probably like, I don't know what, 100% of snaps. I don't know if he missed any snaps last year. But anyways, yeah, absolutely. You're right. Ernest Jones, man, that's a fun team. Rams are fun. I'm
Feels
glad we
good
got
to say that guy's good. Give him more snaps, and then we're seeing what's happening. The team is playing well.
Yeah.
Ernest is playing well.
That's
Aaron
what-
Donald's coming along.
That was one of those rare games where you can watch the Colts and the Rams. And I know the Rams won, so it is what it is. But you come away from that game, both fans of the teams being like, wow, Anthony Richardson looks really freaking good.
Yes, he does.
And also the Rams is like, wow, Matt Stafford is still amazing at age 38 or whatever he is. But
Yeah, I encourage everyone, have a season where the only thing you care about is the quarterback's development because that's very freeing to be like, don't care at all about wins and losses. Just want to see the team be competitive. Want to see Shane Steichen manage the game well and have good play calls and see Anthony Richardson develop. That's it. That's all I care about. Because guess what? If we're like the top 2 or 3 pick, yes, we'll take one of these premier edge rushers or wide receivers or whoever. Thank you very much. This is still a young, like mediocre team.
I agree.
Let's also all take a big, deep breath about Aaron Donald. The guy is still very much elite, still one of the best defenders in the league. Looks amazing.
Feeling good. Let's look and see where he is amongst D tackles right now. So,
He's probably still a little low. I think he only has 1 or 2 sacks on the season.
man, D tackles have been way down. You know who's the number 1 D tackle by Big 3 scoring?
Is it the boy Ed Oliver?
Ed Oliver is number 1, baby.
Let's go.
And then Buckner is number 2.
Still
Payne
skating
is,
off his first few weeks.
Payne is number 3. Vita Vea is number 4. Anyamata is number 5. Jaron Reed is number 6. Jeffrey Simmons is number 7. Aaron Donald is number 8. So he's got a little bit of work to do. He's at 54 points overall, but the number 1 scorer is at 65 points. So he's not that far behind being able to catch up to Ed Oliver. So that flag plant still in play.
Yeah,
Wow.
and Aaron Donald's pressure rate, 16.2%.
Oh, my goodness.
Blows away literally every single other defensive tackle that we just named. So
He's so good.
Amazing. Byron Young, too, also up-and-comer. So
That's right.
Keep an eye on it.
He's
Hey,
good.
also, let's talk offense real fast. What happens to Puka when Cup comes back?
probably fine.
I think
He'll be like the Robert Woods, right?
100%. I think that's why they gave him the number 17. That was Woods'
Oh, wow.
number. Yeah,
Yeah, that had to be why.
correlation.
Love to see it. The stars are aligning.
Speaking of stars, let's talk Vikings Panthers. Josh, I'll give you a little break here. Let's
Thank you,
talk about
Bobo.
the Vikes leaders this week. Harrison Smith, DB, 49 points in Big 3 scoring, 6.3
Lord,
points
Harrison
per game,
Smith.
average weeks 1 through 6, but obviously decided he wanted to go off in week 4. 8 solos, 6 assists, 3 sacks, 2 TFLs, and a forced fumble, 3 QB hits. He played 100% of the snaps to go alongside your boy, Wicka,
DJ Wano.
Edge there for the Minnesota Vikings. 37.7 points.
Nobody started him.
4 solos, 2 assists, 1 TFL, 1 sack. Some other notables. Cameron Bynum continues to be a good player for us in IDP this season. 17.5 points, 9 solos, 3 assists, 1 forced fumble. Marcus Davenport, small sighting, 14.4 points.
What is up with the bum Minnesota edge rushers getting all the shine this week between DJ Wanham and Marcus Davenport?
Somebody got to.
Yeah, they were due. Danielle Hunter had his time.
He had a week off,
Yeah,
apparently.
throw the crumbs to the
Seriously, to the peasants. Jinx.
Dang, dude.
Yeah, it's nice.
Who started for the Panthers? Was it?
It's Bryce Young.
Was it?
Yeah,
Yep.
and
That
he looks frustrated.
Yeah, that probably helps a little bit.
I'm hearing a lot of bad things about old Frank.
Yeah, Frank called a play for Adam Thielen. Realized Thielen wasn't out there, and they had to call a timeout.
Yep.
Because the play was only for Adam Thielen.
Which is
So,
just
not great.
31-year-old Adam Thielen. I got you dialed up here.
Yeah.
This is
Well,
a dig right here.
That may
and
be
there's
their
no second option on this thing.
that may be their best receiver, though. Yeah, and then to round things out, Josh Metellus, I think Evan called him out on the preview pod, 13.25 points as well.
He's been good.
Yeah.
What about Ivan Pace? Hasn't done much.
Pretty meh.
Yeah.
Hope you sold. Although, I mean, he could still have another surge.
Yeah.
It is true. Now that I think about it, I mean, he's got Jordan Hicks in front of him, who ain't the youngest guy. He's also had, a lot of injuries in the past. He's done well as of late, but if he goes down, I mean, oh boy,
It's Brian Samoa season, baby.
Oh.
probably not.
Yeah. What is it going to take? Are they going to bring in are they going to bring in a Deion Jones?
Yeah,
if,
Rashawn Evans will be brought in.
It's like,
Sean.
we don't want this Brian Asamoah guy on the field. We
You
know
know,
he was a third-round
Every
pick.
once in a while I do this just to hear y'all's wonderful voices. But I went back a couple days ago and listened to our top 24 LB pod from last year. And we were talking about Rashawn Evans because he had like 160 tackles last season. And Adam legitimately said, I could just see people not really caring too much for Rashawn Evans this offseason. And
here we
boy,
are.
did you kill that.
Well, I mean, it's right there in where we explain our scoring. Tackles are the most overrated stat for a defender.
Yeah.
Not just for IDP scoring, but just in general. Like, anyone can fall into a tackle, and also it's like the most basic thing you do as a defender. It's
Almost every play ends in a tackle.
it's what it's what you do day one of defense school. You learn how to tackle.
I want to go to defense school.
Yeah. So I mean, it's
Welcome to defense school.
we see it all the time. Just because someone gets
Ready to tackle.
150 tackles does not mean at all that they're any good. In fact, it could mean that they're really bad, that they're getting targeted all the time.
He was a junior little Zach Cunningham, Jalen Smith.
Yeah.
Or
Even though
senior.
There's a
Zach
lot of there's a
Cunningham
ton of
kinda was
those.
featured. Yeah.
There's a ton that happens so much, dude.
TJ Edwards.
But it's the people that are lazy and just look at the box scores and the tackles and think that stuff is like repeatable year to year.
Yeah.
You got to do a little bit of work. You got to do your own research.
Witherspoon
Wise
is
man once said.
legitimately everywhere.
Witherspoon has 56.1 points by Big Three
Goodness
scoring.
gracious.
Come through.
That's so that's going to be the number 2 scorer on the week.
Wow, look at that. Daboll throwing the Surface tablet at
Poor
at
Surface
Daniel
tablets.
Jones.
Yeah, throws it at his head.
Bruh.
Panthers, Sam Franklin, replacement for Xavier Woods. I think, who was saying to pay attention? I think it was Jace talking it up with Joey the Tooth, saying that Sam Franklin, I think they talked about him on the weekly ranking show, was the replacement that you wanted for Xavier Woods. Jeremy Chin was back in the mix as well, though, we should mention.
Franklin did bail you out with the pick 6.
That does help.
It
4
does help.
tackles, 1 INT, 1
99
touchdown.
interception return
Yes,
yards.
1 PD.
Kirk Cousins got decked trying
Yeah.
to stop the tackle.
Oh, my God. What was he doing?
Yeah, it's like, bro,
Just stop.
Stop.
You're old. You're a middle-aged white guy. What are we doing
I
here?
just love it. Don't ever give up.
Yeah,
There's
just.
a lot to be learned there, guys.
It was like he ran all that way just to get his clock cleaned. At least
Yeah.
like try dive, make the dive.
Yeah, call
Just
me.
try.
But hey, it looks good. You
I
you
got a
gave
clock
an
guy.
effort. You're the type. I mean, it's just
You
he's
would
just.
have a clock guy.
You got a clock guy?
TikTok clock shop.
Oh,
That
wow,
sounds like
okay.
something from a video
Yeah.
game.
Legitimately, he's gone and fixed our clock at work before.
Oh my God.
Shout out Glasgow, Kentucky.
He also is like a TV guy. He doesn't just throw the TV away like everyone else and get another one.
Hey,
So
what
y'all got like a big clock or something?
There's like a grandfather clock in our office, and all of a sudden one day, I don't know, quit working. So I don't know how to fix a grandfather clock. You ever seen in a clock? There's so many gears in that
it's
thing.
nuts. Okay, watch
Does
this.
it
crazy.
cuckoo?
What?
Does it cuckoo?
Watch this. Do you have a guy that fixes like church organs?
Oh no.
Okay,
no,
I thought
sorry.
maybe. I was really gonna see
No, our
how
church
far
has
this
a keyboard.
Rolodex.
Josh.
How far this Rolodex went.
Just go get a new keyboard.
Yes. All
Yes,
right.
I don't
Next
know.
up, Yetur Gross-Matos, 20.1 points. God, what is up with some of these
You don't
guys?
have organ. You have a
My
praise
grandma
team.
had an organ in her house, like a
That's
small one.
spooky as hell.
Yeah. Spooky as hell. We are in spooky season, I guess.
We went to love my grandma, but when she passed away, we went to get rid of some of her stuff, and everybody was like, "Who's taking the organ?" And everybody was like, "I'm not taking the organ."
What are we gonna do with an organ?
My family was
The
low-key
kind of
loved
organ
the
donation you don't want.
I wish you did take that organ, dude. We would have that hoe in here right now.
We'd have that hoe in here right now. That's what she said. Let's talk about the Panthers. Yeah, Yetur Gross-Matos, 20.1 points on 69% of snaps. Nothing about that is appealing, though.
Y'all keep talking about Yeats though.
Hey, I mean, he was pretty good last week, and the snaps are coming back up, and but yeah, it's probably not much.
No, thank you.
I probably prefer Justin Houston, honestly.
Yeah, probably.
But
there's just not
you're
a lot.
not gonna beat.
Didn't
This-
he get really hurt?
This Panthers team
I
stinks.
thought Houston went out for the season.
No, he's been out there.
Okay,
That maybe
Thinking of somebody
James
else.
Houston, maybe.
there we go.
Yes.
Sorry.
Jeremy Chin, though, 65% of snaps, 18.3 points. He had a TFL and a sack, 6 solos, a QB hit. Camu Grugier-Hill's been pretty good.
Wait, but did you see that for Jeremy Chin? Still
What's that?
only 65%.
I know, that's what it's like. 65% of snaps. Nothing really changed even with Xavier Woods out. It was,
Yeah.
you can't even beat out, I don't even know his name, Sam Franklin.
Yeah.
You can't beat out Sam Franklin to get your roll back.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, it's over for Jeremy Chin. I hate to break it to you. Not in Dynasty, but for redraft. He's just,
And probably Dynasty as
Yeah.
well. You should be selling. Should have been selling. But now, I mean,
might be a good buy window. Because
Sure.
I mean, 18 points. Maybe you can squeeze one last little drop out of Jeremy Chin's trade value, but that's a damaged asset right there. Camu Grugier-Hill, though, 14.6 points. He's averaged 14.35 weeks 1 through 3, and then Von Bell, 7.25 points. Let's move to Commanders versus Eagles. Talk up Cam Curl, 23.5 points, 12.25 points the first 3 weeks. Listen to the preview pod.
Yeah.
Jake and Evan brought up that the Eagles were the number 1 matchup for DBs in all of IDP. Cam Curl comes through with a fantastic game. There's Emmanuel Forbes, 18.25 points at number 2. Jonathan Allen, no surprise there, 80% of snaps, 18.55 points. Chase Young, 89% of snaps, 15.75. Got him another sack, 2 QB hits and a TFL. And then Benjamin St. Juste, 10.25 points. So not a bad showing for the Commanders. Cam Curl leading the way, but Jonathan Allen and Chase Young clocking in there in the top 5, Addy.
yeah, Chase Young, 16% pressure rate so far this year. So pretty good. I mean, looks healthy. Like the way he's moving around out there. Yeah, I mean, we know that that's a star-studded defensive line, so he's in an amazing situation. But this is good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dynasty. I mean, I think this pretty much solidifies him as, inside the top 20 for edge guys.
Yeah. I think top 20 is reasonable. I think John said he's got him inside his top 20, probably rest of season for like weekly rankings.
Yeah, I could see that. I think that's fair.
In consideration for that edge 2 spot every single week.
Yeah.
So, because for me, it's the volume. I mean, this dude is playing probably
89% of snaps.
I'd say his snap share on the season is probably north of 80% of snaps.
I agree.
In the games that he's played, which is weeks 2, 3, and 4, I think, at this point.
Yeah, but didn't play week 1.
Averaging 55 snaps a game, so that's really good for Chase
great.
Young.
That's really good. And he's looked good. That's the eye test, I think, is important here as well, because you can look at Shaq Leonard and be like, well, still getting a decent snap share, but then you watch him and you're like, oh.
There's your Uchenna's
did we get a Uchenna Nwosu sack?
Needed.
All right, there we go.
Back-to-back sacks on
Mentioned
Daniel
this was
Jones.
8 sacks tonight for
Oh my
the
gosh.
Seahawks.
Took 7 last week against Daniel
He's so
Jones.
bad. They got to feel awful about that contract. On the Eagles side, Nicholas Morrow. What in the hell, Nicholas Morrow? 8.62 points per game the first 3 weeks, goes for 49.25 points. 11 total tackles, including 10 solos, 3 TFLs, 3 sacks, 20 sack yards, 1 forced fumble, 3 QB hits, 99% of snaps. We knew Sam Howell. We knew this Eagles defense was going to tee off. I think he was the second most sacked quarterback in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Joey was saying on the rankings episode, like 19 sacks or something. I did not expect that it was going to be Nicholas Morrow getting 3 sacks on Sam Howell. So
no. I mean, what does Burrow have for his career as far as sacks?
He may have tied his career.
He may have 3
total.
now. Yeah.
I'm still not. I'm sorry. I'm still not starting this guy. I just don't want any piece of the Eagles linebacker room.
Mm-hmm.
Zach Cunningham.
You have Dean coming back at some point.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
What's the status on that? Do any of you boys know?
I have not seen.
But I mean, could Morrow become that LB2 though now instead of Cunningham? Dean returns?
Yes, I think so. I think it will be Dean, and I think it'll be. I mean, it was Dean and Cunningham, but I mean, Morrow has been the 100% of snap guy.
When you do something like that, it's pretty tough.
We're still probably a couple weeks out from Nakobe Dean. I would say week 6 maybe would be the best time frame to expect
just
him
pay
back.
attention to Twitter. They usually announce on there whenever they're opening up the 21-day kind of activation window.
Yeah.
They only open that up whenever they're going to be adding him back to the active roster. So
4 career sacks before this 3-in-1 game
that's
outburst.
nuts. Get out of here, Nicholas
So
Morrow.
7 total for his career.
But a player that we do like, Reed Blankenship. This was one of Jace's shout-outs on that episode. 16 points, 21.38 points per game. Average the first 3 weeks, 100% of snaps, 4 solos, 4 assists, 2 passes defended. Reed Blankenship is a DB1 must-start in all league formats. Josh Sweat, 15.75. Good to see him playing well. 67% of snaps. Got himself a sack, a QB hit, 5 total tackles, and a TFL. There's Zach Cunningham, 14.25 points after 7.5 the first 3 weeks. 85% of snaps. And then Darius Big Play Slay, 13.25 after 15.33 the first 3 weeks.
If you're looking at points per game, Reed Blankenship is DB3 right now. And he's also only playing 25% of his snaps in the sweet spot. So there's another one for you.
The narrative continues to get busted.
I do want to say, I do obviously think that box snaps and all that stuff, it matters, of course. But only in the sense that, like, if you're trying to farm a safety, you know, if you need like a replacement, like that's a nice little easy way to like find someone that should get some tackles that week, I think. But if you're looking for like special players or like difference makers, I think you got to dig a little deeper, and you can't just go off of how they're being used and how they're lining up.
I think that's it right there. The reason we hear so much about sweet spot and box percentages, we, as a IDP playing populace, want to farm DBs, right? Mm-hmm. That's kind of the common wisdom is like, don't cling too tightly to these guys. You can pick them up off waivers, especially cornerbacks. And so what do we use as sort of our rule of thumb for finding these guys is just look for box snaps. Bobo.
Yep.
But yeah, difference makers. The sweet spot alignment, the box percentage doesn't matter as much when guys can make plays.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It also doesn't really matter as much when you have a lot of people in the box. You know, if you've got a team that likes to play 2 or 3 linebacking sets a lot of times, when you bring another guy down into the box, sometimes it really just kind of muddies the water. So, yeah, you're exactly right. That's something kind of interesting to pay attention to because you have always kind of had these guys over the years that are just playmakers. And, you know, they're not necessarily, you know, in the box all the time. So kind of keep a pin in it. Keep a pin in it?
Put a pin in it.
Put a pin in it.
Keep it on your radar?
Does it mean like a legitimate
yes.
pin?
Put a pin like on a
I don't like that.
Little cork board.
cork board, yeah.
like
you're
those
doing the murder.
Freaks
You guys
me
do
out.
that when you were
Investigation.
kids? You'd use like the tacks and get in trouble by your parents.
Well, I had an actual cork board in my room that I would
Yeah.
pin
It's
stuff
not me.
on.
I'm using the
Adam's putting
wall.
it in the
Yeah,
drywall.
That's right.
He's a bad
Like
boy.
baddie.
Yep. Then they're gonna have to redo the room at some point. And
Yep.
Guilt me about
Spackle everywhere.
Spackle and
Yep.
paint.
it. Look what you done, Adam.
Pinning up all your Jalen Phillips shirtless pictures. Gotta get you back in Sunday school. Oh,
I'm not going. You got football Sundays.
Let's talk Dolphins Bills. Speaking of Jalen Phillips, was not in this game, still out with the oblique injury. God, get better soon, Jalen Phillips. But hey, in his place, we got Andrew Van
That's
Ginkel.
right.
AVG.
Mentioned it on the pod with John that you could do worse than Andrew Van Ginkel. And this week, once again, we saw him in Jalen Phillips' absence play very well.
Hey,
29.75 points.
Jalen got a lot to live up to.
He's got some
I
big
know.
shoes to fill.
Has he been replaced?
Yes. AVG has
You know?
sapped his power, I'm afraid.
You got like 2 different body styles, you know.
Just a little bit.
AVG's maybe ripped up. I don't know if I've seen a picture of him, but
It's that hair.
That
It's that
hair
hair
flowing.
again, guys.
Don't need the body when you have the hair.
very
Yeah.
hype.
Dennis Gardeck and AVG on the same defensive line.
I mean,
That's some juice right there.
that's the thing. Everyone's digging into these numbers. Where are these guys lined up? What's the hair look like?
We're really into narrative season tonight, baby. What's the hair? What's the playmaking? That's what you come to this show for, people. All right, Dolphins, yeah. Andrew Van Ginkel, 29.75, 76% of snaps.
David Long.
David Long, 17 points. There it is, 93% of snaps. We see this, though. This is the correlation when Jalen Phillips is out, Van Ginkel goes to the edge, and David Long comes in.
Now, maybe this was a snap count progression type of game for Jerome Baker's been hurt, correct? But
Yeah,
Jerome,
he's just been stinking.
okay, well, maybe that's it. Jerome Baker played like 50% of snaps, I think. So David Long was the LB1 there in Miami this week.
Oh, maybe he did get hurt this week, but he had been like full time.
Yeah, he had
Okay.
been 100% of snaps. I think it's
But you're
just-
saying he was 50% this past
It
week?
looked like, if I go off of Macri's tweet, which I'm thinking I remember, it seemed pretty low. I'll look it up.
Yeah, look it up. It's this is a situation, though, I'm not trusting David Long. Once Jalen Phillips comes back, I'm sitting David Long down because I do not trust that Van Ginkel is not going to take David Long's off-ball linebacker role. So just pay attention to that. If you've got David Long, pay attention to when Jalen Phillips comes back. The rest of the game, or the rest of the top 5 here,
Are you starting AVG right now?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, until Jalen is back, sure, why not?
Isn't that a shame, though, about David Long? Because, I mean, he's showing you he's so productive for IDP.
Yep.
You know,
That's what we've been saying.
Last 3 games, 21.4, 8.5 the week before that, and then 17 this past week.
So
Just
Miami
sucks.
linebackers, David Long, 93%. Jerome Baker, 76%.
Okay.
Duke Riley, 31%.
Remember what's his face? Channing Tindall.
Yeah.
Channing Tindall.
What we're
How's
doing?
he doing?
I don't know.
Now, is he on the practice squad? I mean, is he even on the active roster?
That's a good question. Yeah. Good
Yeah.
question.
So, yeah, Justin Bethel was number 3. Xavier Howard, number 4. Zach Sealers, number 5 with 7.5 points. Let's move on to the Bills. Gregory Rousseau, 29.25 points.
Oh, Greg.
It's a great week for old Greg. 3
He's
solos, 2 TFLs, 2 sacks, 1 PD, 2 QB hits, and 57% of snaps. 73.7 overall PFF grade. Micah Hyde got him the game-sealing interception there. The Bills beat down the Dolphins in this game. 5 total tackles and a pick, a PD. 100% of snaps for Micah Hyde. There's the D-tackle 1, Ed Oliver. How do you call it? 17.55 points after averaging 15.85 the first 3 weeks.
People, check your waivers because a lot of these guys are going to be available. I just picked up Ed Oliver in XFL like 2 weeks ago, and I know that that's sometimes an anomaly, but a lot of these players, I saw somebody today saying, should I drop Nick Bosa? So depends on the league that you're in, and like, man, not everybody's
two IDP
everybody's
leagues.
wise, man.
Someone just dropped Khalil Mack.
I mean, seriously,
someone did.
Streets are
talking.
ready to go, ripe for the pickings.
That's just how it goes, though. Sometimes you do get pinched, and you have to do certain things for your roster, and that means letting go of some talent.
It was him or Uche, and I
Yeah.
was like, probably Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
Uche had a sack, I think.
Yeah, didn't
Not
use
six.
the snaps though. Do you see those for Uche?
They go down,
He's just not getting snaps.
up and down.
Shocker. Patriots defense.
Yeah, Patriots team.
Matt Milano, 15.5 points on 100% of snaps, and Daquan Jones, 15.3 defensive tackles. So Matt Milano's been pretty solid, 14.28 average the first 3
Been
weeks.
very solid. He hasn't been anything more than that.
Yeah.
As somebody who
top tier
rosters-
LB2.
Terrell Bernard returned to earth a little bit this past week.
Yep.
Your boy Taylor Rapp was starting in place of Jordan Poyer.
Yep.
He was solid and fine. I do think Greg Rousseau may be the most underrated edge for Dynasty. Guy's just damn good.
What's his snap percentage, though, this season?
It's 57% this past week. I mean, let's see. Let's look and see what he's done. You're right, though. I mean,
That's what worries me.
We touched on this. It's not that it's not a high percentage. It's the volume.
Well, it's the volume plus. I mean, is he getting more than 60% of the snaps on the season?
I think so. I think he's like the clear one.
Yeah, I want to see this because I always feel like he's in that 50 to 60% range.
And make a note that that Von Miller's coming back here pretty soon. Next week or two, I think they've maybe activated him off of IR. So his 21-day window's open.
Yeah, it's true. I'm excited for that.
I wonder who gets dinged there. I think it's probably Leonard Floyd a little bit.
Yeah.
A little
Leonard
bit.
Floyd will
He's
probably-
been great too.
Yeah,
though.
Floyd's been awesome.
Yeah, so the snap percentage for Gregory Rousseau is 59% this season on defense.
That's fine.
So that's what worries me, though, is it's a low volume of snaps, and then he's playing only 60% of them.
But for Dynasty, is that something that's going to be stable for the next few years, right? I mean, I don't know how you can. I think you got to kind of hope.
I think his percentage is going to be stable. Is the volume going to be stable? I mean, who knows?
Yeah, but I think that's a bet you make that it's going to increase.
Think he's ever going to get more than 75% of the snaps?
Sure, I don't see why he couldn't.
I don't know. I just feel like Sean McDermott has shown us thus far he likes that edge rotation, and I just don't know that this is ever going to be a guy that gets that volume of snaps. I agree with you. I think he's underrated. I just wish they would play him more.
Yeah.
It's just frustrating when the guy is this good that he doesn't get more work. But yeah, as far as, I mean, is he the most underrated defensive line asset on his own team, though, with Ed Oliver sitting at D-tackle 1?
I mean, your boy's been on Ed Oliver for a long time.
Sitting on the waivers, though, in our main league, which is a pretty sharp league.
Adam put in for him as well, though.
I am shocked that Ed Oliver
Pretty
was
sharp
sitting up.
leave. Who dropped him, dog? Come on.
Who dropped him?
Come on.
The Titans,
Are we-
IDPs
are
on
we
the week,
moving on?
Aziz Al-Shaair.
I think I know who dropped him. Yeah, Aziz Al-Shaair, Titans, Bengals, 100% of snaps, 24.25 points, 11.82 the first 3 weeks. Good to see Aziz Al-Shaair balling. Jeffrey Simmons, 20.8 after 12.9 the first 3 weeks, 87% of snaps. Arden Key, there he is, 14.25 points. Got himself a sack, 2 QB hits, a solo, a TFL, 70% of snaps. Jack Gibbons, 13.5 on 77% of snaps. And Travis Gibson, 11.05 on 6% of snaps. I wonder if that is correct.
That's correct.
Okay.
He's newly acquired, like right when the season started because he got released from Chicago.
Oh, there we go.
So
That's right. That's right.
That's a hard rotation to crack as well.
Yeah. Good to see Jeffrey Simmons. He was a little quiet, 12.9 points per game average the first 3 weeks. But the snaps are there, so you keep firing this guy up. And then, Bobo, what do we think about Aziz Al-Shaair? Is he back in, like, are you – he's in the mix for me if you're starting at least 2 linebackers. He's in the mix for, like, that LB2 slot for you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. As much as Jack Gibbons is, kind of fun and, I don't know, he's kind of relevant to talk about as far as an LB2 there in Tennessee, honestly, there's only really ever been one linebacker that I've ever felt comfortable rostering out of Tennessee in Vrabel's system. It only seems like there's production for one guy. Anyways, Aziz Al-Shaair, 100% of the snaps. That's fine, man. 81 tackle grade. He's been what we drafted him for in IDP. I remember the early days of best ball in February and in March, and Azeez Al-Shaair was just buried in a lot of these drafts. And now Azeez Al-Shaair, we all kind of thought that if he was given the opportunity to be an LB1, even though he was behind just two great linebackers there in San Fran, that he was going to be this type of guy, and he's walking into the light. I really like Azeez. He should be really solid for us for the rest of the season, as long as he stays healthy.
There we go. That's what we hope for. Bengals side, Dax Hill, DB1, right? Didn't we say
DB2,
Dax Hill?
DB2.
DB2. Who's DB1 now? Jesse Bates?
Nope.
No.
Your boy, Tyreek, peace.
Antoine Winfield.
There you go.
Winfield 1. Dax Hill 2.
It was like Shrades.
Yeah, it's like Tyreek piece. Meta World piece. Dax Hill 17.5 points, 21.68 average the first 3 weeks. He's been phenomenal. 98% of snaps. Sam Hubbard, both the edge rushers did well this week. Sam Hubbard, 17.2 points. Evan said, fire them both up. Here against the Titans, he gets a sack, 2 QB hits, 4 solos, and a TFL. 17.2 points. Nick Scott also playing well. We mentioned that. 15 points, 8.25 average the first 3 weeks. Had 10 total tackles and a TFL on 92% of snaps. And there's Trey Hendrickson, 14.05. He got half a sack, a TFL, 6 tackles, and then 1 QB hit. And then Miles Murphy, the rookie, 13.45 points on 29% of snaps. So got him a sack. Good to see him mixing in there as well. So despite the fact that the Titans blew the doors off the Cincinnati Bengals, the Cincinnati IDPs, Eddie still had a nice day.
Yeah, Sam Hubbard. I mean, this is kind of what we expected from him. The tackle floor has been there for Sam Hubbard. He's averaging 5.5 tackles per game. That is 7th among all defensive linemen. And that's been the story with him, basically his whole career. Really solid, really safe. Strong tackle floor, and then he'll sprinkle in some sacks, and that's what we've started seeing the last 2 weeks. So nice to see that. And then, like you mentioned, Miles Murphy. I mean, that's his first one of the season.
I wondered if that might be his first.
Mm-hmm.
And do we think that maybe he starts getting sprinkled in more especially with kind of Cincinnati and the way they're trending as a team?
If they shut down Burrow, yes, I think we could see a lot more Miles Murphy.
Is that being talked about?
It should be. It should be. This guy can't move right now.
Did y'all hear in the preseason when they talked about they went to Jamar Chase, and I think Jamar pretty much just went to Joe Burrow and was like, Joe, calm down, man. Why don't you just go chill out? We'll see you in about week 5.
Yeah.
And it's going back and like retroactively looking like you should have done this.
Yes.
Like you should have taken a break till week 5.
You are not healthy. You should not be out there right now. They can't not compete. They just paid this guy. I'm sure Joe's like, I'm fine. But he's literally taken, I think, 1 snap under center before this week. Because he just can't. He has to just get the ball and throw it.
Yeah, and that's affecting the T. Higgins and Jamar Chase.
Yep,
affecting the downfield ability for those guys. Another sack for your boy Kayvon Thibodeau. We just saw a minute ago while we were talking.
Yep.
So there's 2 on the week,
3 on the year so far now.
Yep. Heating up a little bit.
So everyone just always stay patient. We've seen so many of these guys have slow starts. Uchenna, Kayvon,
Uchenna had one tonight.
Hubbard, Aaron Donald, Khalil Mack.
We'll get to him.
Calm down.
We'll get to Khalil. Baba, why don't you take this next game here because one of your favorite players is sitting at number 2 and having himself a hell of a season.
Let's go. Roquan Smith, linebacker for the Ravens, 23.5 points. He has 18.3 points per game average weeks 1 through 3. This will bump that up a little bit. 6 solos, 4 assists, 1 TFL, 2 PDs, and 1 QB hit. He has an 82 tackle grade and an 85.8 grade in coverage. My boy Patrick Queen, linebacker for the Ravens, 22.85 points, 15.95 points average week 1 through 3. Again, this will bump it up a little bit. 4 solos, 1 assist, 3 TFLs, 1 sack, 1 QB hit. Let's look at the PFF grades. 55 overall defensive grade, but he does have a 78.8 grade in tackling and a 74 grade for pass rush. A couple other decent games here. Brandon Stevens, 17.7 points, DB there. Geno Stone, 16.8 points. And then Josh's boy, Kyle Hamilton, 16.25 points. He has 18.87 point per game average weeks 1 through 8. 5 solos, 1 interception, 1 PD. Kyle Hamilton is just becoming our big play aficionado here.
Yeah, you love to see it.
That's what he does.
100% of snaps. I think the alignment, Macri said, was a little bit different. He played a lot of the slot in week 3. No sacks, but we do see a pick here. So, I mean, if this guy can score, north of 12 points a week, I think you're feeling good. And he has the ability to add in the big plays and give you, 25 plus. So
now, I will say this was against a very green rookie quarterback. I don't even remember the guy's name now that played for Deshaun, but
it's Dorian Thompson Robinson, I think.
There you go.
DTR
had some pretty good little looks in the preseason, but
apparently Deshaun was cleared to play and just said nope, can't do it. Yeah. So that weight of sin and guilt is crushing him and crushing those shoulders.
Let me talk about the Browns for us.
Yes, please.
Myles Garrett, edge for the Browns. Another great game that was overshadowed by Khalil Mack. 48.45 points. Continuing just to toy with defenses. 1 solo, 1 assist, 1 TFL, 1 sack, 3 QB hits. That can't be right.
Yeah, he had 16.9 points.
Okay. Sorry.
I think that was probably left over from last week. Yeah, 16.9 points.
So still a decent game. Obo, gosh, I almost just messed his name up. Ogbonia Okorongwo.
That's the one thing I know for sure is that you can pronounce this guy's name.
Well, I tried to mix in his nickname also. Obo, 16.2 points, 2 solos, 2 TFLs, 1 sack, 7 sack yards, 1 QB hit. JOK, linebacker for the Browns, 12 points, 6 solos, 2 assists, 2 TFLs. That is coming off of a 7.92 points per game average in weeks 1 through 3. Anthony Walker, the next linebacker up. As far as snaps, I'm pretty sure there. Yeah, JOK played 79%. Anthony Walker at 71%. He had 11.7 points on the week. And then Greg Newsome, DB, with 11.5 points. So what are we to make of this? What are we to make of Pat Queen? What are we to make of JOK or Anthony Walker?
I want everything to do with the Baltimore linebackers and nothing to do with the Cleveland linebackers. No interest.
Good sell window for JOK.
I mean, if you can get anything.
Find a buyer.
Yeah.
Nice little week for him.
Patrick Queen has been awesome.
He sure has.
He's been really good.
It is really cool to see this guy. And I still think it's going to be Trenton Simpson there next season.
Oh, baby.
But I think
Uchenna
again.
Hey,
I still think
I
still think Patrick Queen is going to get himself a very nice Tremaine Edmonds level contract in free agency. So
Queen now has 2 sacks on the year.
there you go. I think his dynasty value could go up depending on what the landing spot
And
is.
you do got to love just Queen being there in Baltimore and learning alongside Roquan and Harbaugh and just a really good situation for a young guy to be in early in his career. And, I know the grades haven't always been the best for Patrick Queen, but you got to remember that guy is still like 24, I think, and this is his 5th year. So,
yeah, came into the league young. Jadeveon Clowney, I was looking for the quote, and I'd have to go back and look to see all the linebackers that Jadeveon Clowney has played with, but he said Roquan Smith is the best linebacker I've ever played with.
Wow.
So, pretty high praise because that guy's played with probably a lot of linebackers.
Still early on, but 2.5 sacks on the season for Obo.
I was looking at those grades, though.
he's been pretty good.
Oh, my God.
Obo, man.
33.4 defense and 29.7 run defense. What's going on there?
71 tackle grade, 55 pass rush.
That's nice.
But you haven't really heard anybody talk about Zadarius Smith. It's been kind of quiet on that front. So
yeah, no Zadarius Smith.
Strange.
Very strange. Let's move on to the next game here. Bears-Broncos.
Worst team in the NFL, right?
Bears, 100%. Are you kidding me?
It just goes to show you, we were talking about this all offseason, but how they spent their money. Here you go. You got a bunch of tackles for TJ Edwards and Tremaine Edmonds. You don't have anybody rushing the quarterback or any semblance of a pass rush at all. So there you go, Ryan Pace.
Baba, let's talk about these Bears here and walk through their options for IDP. Who was standing out for them?
TJ Edwards, 13.5 points, 7
Continues
solos.
to be very solid.
Yeah, really good. 1 assist, 2 quarterback hits. He did have a 76 overall defensive grade. He had a 46 tackle grade and a 58 pass rush grade. Terrell Smith, DB there, 12.7 points. Nothing really too crazy. Tremaine Edmonds, 12 points, 6 solos, 2 assists, 1 TFL. Jack Sanborn sighting, 65% of snaps.
Special agent.
4 solos, 1 assist. And then some guy named Zach Pickens, defensive tackle, 5.7 points.
Remember him.
1 assist, a half a sack, and 1 QB hit. So the Bears just suck, man.
They suck.
You're just going to get a bunch of tackles.
Yep.
And that might be why Jack Sanborn becomes relevant again because, keep keep an eye on that. There's a chance that with all these tackles that T.J. Edwards or Tremaine gets banged up, and all of a sudden it's just Jack Sanborn season again.
Yeah. Addie, I think you were the one mentioning before we got on mic here about the Nick Bonito standout performance for the Denver Broncos. What did Mr. Bonito do here on Sunday against the Bears?
33.5 points. He was averaging 11.52 points per game, weeks 1 through 3. He racked up 3 solos, 1 assist, 2 TFLs, 2.5 sacks, 25 sack yards, 1 forced fumble that I think Jonathan Cooper scooped up and took to the house, and then 2 QB hits. And he played 67% of the snaps. The grades for this week were pretty solid, 59.9, 60.9 pass rush grade. Sorry, the 59.9 was overall PFF grade. But, yeah, Nick Bonito's been really good so far this year, especially from a pressure standpoint. I'll try and find some of those numbies.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
What do we think about this Denver edge rushing group, Bobo? It's kind of a weird mix with Jonathan Cooper, Nick Bonito, Randy Gregory. You've got Zach Allen. We should have Baron Browning back in the mix here soon. Kind of feels like a stay away for me, but they've had some standout performances thus far. I mean, Jonathan Cooper and Nick Bonito combining for about 60-plus points this week.
It's a very bizarre setup there. Some of that being indicative of playing the Chicago Bears, which, say what you want to about Justin Fields, but he's really just not been that good this year. I don't know what to make of the Broncos pass rush. I mean, there's a couple guys maybe that would be okay to throw a dart throw on. If you're starting Jonathan Cooper, maybe just because of the snaps, 86% of snaps was okay, but you're right. Randy Gregory's coming back.
Baron Browning.
Who did I say?
Randy
They're
Gregory.
both coming back.
Yeah.
I'm staying away from all those guys. Even when Baron Browning and Randy Gregory come back, I don't really want a piece of any of that. Am I wrong?
I mean, I'll take a bet on Nick Bonito. I've
Okay.
found it. He's got a 15.8% pressure rate right now. So, I mean, he's crushing it.
That's good.
And he's been productive basically every single week outside of week 1.
I wanted to say before I forget, the Bears have 2 sacks on the season.
Oh, my gosh. That's so bad.
That's kind of what we expected,
And how many sacks against? Like probably 20-something.
How many tackles from their linebackers, though?
Fields
That's what
has-
they paid for.
Fields has been sacked 17 times on the
Oh,
season.
my goodness.
Nuts.
I will say Jonathan Cooper is getting 75% of the defensive snaps. So that is some nice volume there. Because you always worry about these guys just doing it on a small sample size, right? But I want to see what Nick Bonito's snap count has been so far this season.
Cooper has an 11% pressure rate, so that's better than it was. So this last
There you
week
go.
definitely helped him.
Yeah, 56% of snaps for Nick Bonito. So, yeah, I mean, that's a decent little dart. If you're ravaged with injuries or you're in a very deep league, you can do worse than these Broncos edge rushers. We should mention Kareem Jackson was number 3, 19.5 points. De'Laren Turner-Yell continues to do stuff, 17.25 points, defensive back there. And then Pat Surtain, 11.75 points, 8 points per game average. Let's move to Cardinals versus 49ers, because leading the way for the Cardinals was once again the energy guy, Addy, Dennis Gardeck. The long-haired beauties continue to ball out for IDP, 15.2 points. But that tells you what kind of day it was for the Cardinals IDPs, that 15.2 points is leading the pack. For the Cardinals, he had 4 total tackles, a TFL, a sack, and 1 QB hit. Kytrell Clark, DB, 19.25 points, 12.5 points average the first 3 weeks, 98% of snaps. Ezekiel Turner, why the hell not? Linebacker / DB, 9.7 points. Kayvon Wallace, 8 points. And then Kaiser White had a down week, 100% of snaps, but just 6.75 points. Keep in mind, though, 19.27 points per game average the first 3 weeks. Kaiser White has been one of the best linebackers for IDP thus far this season. Addy, I am not panicking after a down week for Mr. White.
No, Kaiser White's basically a linebacker 2 rest of the season. Should never leave your lineup. Even if you started if you drafted someone like Devin White,
I think Kaiser White might be an LB1.
Kaiser White might be starting ahead of Devin White at this point.
Yes.
I mean,
if I had both those guys, yes.
Yeah, I mean, Devin White definitely has, I think, the higher upside, but you just feel better about Kaiser White, I think, on a, floor bases. So,
Yep.
Yeah, Kayvon Wallace has done okay with his opportunity with Budda Baker being out. He's someone that's been a serviceable safety. I've plugged him in quite a few leagues. Dennis Gardeck continues to just get the damn thing done.
Yeah.
Dennis Gardeck, man.
I mean, the snaps are not what you would think they would be based on the production, right? You figure like why aren't we giving this guy?
I know 36% of snaps.
Why can't we just give him like 7%? Like all these other guys are ass, outside of Victor D.
Victor D, baby.
Victor D came back to earth this week.
Oh, man.
He's been good, but I mean, Zaven Collins hasn't looked great there. All the metrics are pretty bad for him so far. So
Wasn't he the one that Evan was saying had a 0% win rate?
yeah,
He's true pass rush sets or something.
Yeah, so he's not looked the best by PFF standards to start the season. Yeah, but I mean, he is raw. I mean, he's about as raw as it gets.
He's played how many edge rushing snaps did he have prior to this season?
He's new to this, so
yeah, give him some time. Or not. If you just want to jettison him into space, that's fine too.
Sell him for pennies. I mean,
Yes.
whatever.
It was just a down game for IDP in this game, apparently, because Javon Hargrave led the way for the 49ers, 16.8 points, 4 tackles, a TFL, a sack, 2 QB hits. Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, both 11.5 points, 85% of snaps for Fred. Dre played 82% of snaps. Nick Bosa, 8 points. He's been quiet so far this season.
Yeah.
10.35 points per game average the first 3 weeks. He just had 4 QB hits. So if your league did not score QB hits, you had 0 points from Nick Bosa. So probably a lot of frustrated managers. Might be a good time to go out there and make an offer. And Kendall Sheffield rounds out the top 5. Let's go to Cowboys, Patriots. I think, Bobo, were you saying that Deron Bland was, I think you said number 4 or number 5 DB on the season.
I'll look it up.
Probably because of this big boom week here. He is one of the 40-point scorers thus far on the season, 40.9 points, 11.32 points per game average, weeks 1 through 3. DB4. There you go. 3 solos, 1 assist, 2 interceptions, 1 defensive touchdown.
He has 2 touchdowns on the season. He had 1
That's
interception
crazy.
for TD week 1 with 26 points.
Yep, 3 PDs, 64 INT return yards, 78% of snaps.
Trayvon Diggs, who?
Yeah, exactly. Not missing them at all. Absolutely beat down the Patriots. We got to see Bailey Zappi in this game.
Hey.
That tells you what the state of affair was
Here
for the
for it.
Pats.
Go
yeah,
Tops.
let's go WKU. Get Mac Jones the hell out of there. This guy is not good.
Yeah.
I think we've seen enough to know this guy is
A lot
not
of broken
the answer.
teams, and
Yes.
that's one of them.
Yeah, just we can stop with the Mac
When
Jones
do they play the
experiment.
Giants? That's going to be a real fun.
Well, we have Commanders and Bears on Thursday Night Football this week, so
Can't wait.
no amount of hype. You know Al Michaels is going to be an absolute hell calling that game.
It's gonna be fun for us in IDP.
That's right. That's the only reason you're gambling or you have some sort of IDP in this game. So, number 2, Leighton Vander Esch, 17.35 points, but just 5.17 the first 3 weeks. He did have a defensive touchdown, so that definitely helped. 7 total tackles,
He
a
was
fumble
very
recovery.
lucky. He was right
I
place,
missed
right
it.
time.
What happened? It just fall into
Somebody
his lap?
else made the play. He picked it up and scored.
Yeah, that sounds like LVE.
This is a very turd game without that.
Yeah, it. What was the snap percentage though? 100% of snaps. LVE is just not good. Dante Fowler, edge rusher, 31% of snaps, 12.25 points. Sam Williams, 11.95. Was this his first game back from suspension?
Yes.
I think it was,
First
wasn't
3
it?
games.
First 3 games he was out, 11.95 points, got himself a sack, a QB hit, a solo, a TFL. And then J-Ron Kearse, 10.5 points, clocking in at number 5. He has been 9.65 average the first 3 weeks. No Micah Parsons. No,
Yep.
what's the other edge rusher there? I wanted to say Marcus Davenport, but that's not right. DeMarcus Lawrence. No DeMarcus Lawrence. No Micah Parsons. Addy, a lot of our big-name edge rushers just kind of nowhere to be found this week.
I know. When you look at the score, you're like, oh, baby. This is
Here we
gonna
go.
be a good
Yeah.
one.
No.
Here we go.
Nick Bosa been quiet. TJ
never
Watt
mind.
been quiet. Micah Parsons been quiet. Garrett was fine.
Yeah.
We'll get to Max Crosby, but I don't think he had like a big boom game at all.
No, it was Dante Fowler and Sam Williams with the sacks. So.
Ooh.
Yeah, what's going on?
You love to see
and
it.
then Danielle Hunter, yeah, quiet. So it's just a bit of a bizarro week for IDP.
Ryan
All of our
Burns.
stud edge rushers taking the week off.
Donovan Wilson still hasn't really gotten the playing time that we were used to seeing like last year. And that's probably just because they're, easing him back in from the injury and everything. Hopefully.
Probably.
That's what I'm hoping. I do have some Donovan Wilson. He was a lot of fun, a really good safety for us last year. So hopefully he can start seeing those snaps getting like the 70 to 80% range. As of right now, they've been like 50%.
Yeah, I think they're just slowly working them back in, it seems like.
I think so.
So Patriots-wise, Jelani Tavai, 24.4 points, 6 points per game average, weeks 1 through 3, 66% of snaps. Just no.
Bob was right.
Yeah.
I told you, Jelani. That was my
God,
dude.
This is just the worst, reading the Patriots IDPs. Kyle Duggar, 90% of snaps. There's the one guy.
Sure.
I saw where, who is it? Not Uche, but the other guy. The other edge rusher. Help me out. Edge
Mr.
rusher.
October.
Judon. Matthew Judon. And Christian Gonzalez could be out for a while.
Oh yeah, my buddy, one of my best friends just tore his pec. I don't think he did that. I think he tore his bicep tendon.
Oh my God, that sounds somehow
Rip it
worse.
off of the bone.
Nope.
It's like
No, thank you.
all of a sudden the muscle will collapse. It's not. It doesn't look like an arm anymore. It's just like all up in your shoulder.
Love
That's
Adam's gonna look that up tonight.
Love
Adam's gonna have a cold sweat.
to pass out.
Yeah, about 3 a.m. But yeah, Kyle Duggar, I guess, is the IDP
That's
you want now.
Chipotle.
If Christian Gonzalez is out and if Matthew Judon is out, he had 22.25, but just 9.92 average the first 3 weeks. He had 12 solos, 3 assists, 1 TFL, and 1 QB hit. Some guy named Miles Bryant, DB, 18.5 points on 100% of snaps. Josh Uche, 16.25 points, but he's just averaging 3.17, 26% of
18 snaps.
18 snaps, 2 solos, 1 assist, a TFL, a sack, and 2 QB hits.
That's pitiful.
So disappointing.
Dietrich Wise rounding out the top 5, 14.9 points per game.
Stay away.
2.75 points per game average the first 3 weeks.
But now could Uche see those snaps go up with Judon being out?
Maybe.
I mean, he's
Or Dietrich Wise.
right.
Or Keon.
I mean, if you look
Who
at
the hell knows?
if you look at Uche's pressure rate, man, it's elite, 23.4%. I know that's on just 88 snaps this year, but still, he's done that every time he's got an opportunity.
This is what we give this guy more opportunity, Bill.
We've been saying it for like 2 years.
Yep.
True.
Yeah. Get this guy in the game. Like, are we missing something? Is this like a bad guy?
Yeah, it's like when your team's losing,
Bad.
like by a lot.
Yeah.
It's like, don't you want to try and play your best players the most? Like, why do you keep having these rotations of these bums?
I was listening to Good Morning Football this morning, and Kyle Brandt pretty much pulled out that whole narrative of like, Bill, we need to hear from you about like, what's your plan for the Patriots? Like, ever since Tom left, y'all have been very mid.
Yep.
There's no like real young talent. It's kind of an aging team. You haven't really been competitive here the last couple years. So, I mean, there is a little bit of accountability. I mean, I know Bill won a ton, so it might just be like, I don't care. I'm just going to do what I'm going to do. But
I think Bill needs to realize that we all realize that Tom was the one making that thing go.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
First year,
sure,
Buccaneers.
Bill's a great coach and all that stuff, but I mean, that thing was built by Tom.
Well, and the problem too is that Bill is
by
a great coach.
Love that.
Bill is a horrible GM.
Trademarking it.
And that was the problem, is that he has too much power.
Yeah.
He's making these personnel moves. He's one of the worst drafting GMs in recent history.
Yeah.
Just god awful at drafting. Bad signings in free agency. If they had brought in an actual GM, and Greg Rosenthal, Patriots fan, friend of the show, thinks that Bill's on the hot seat
Wow.
this
Wow.
year, which is crazy to think about.
But if you're not winning, you know, that's not fun. Like that type of stuff that Bill's doing, like not playing his best players because he feels like he didn't have to because his system is the most important. That just gets annoying
Yeah.
when you're that type, like when you're involved in that type of environment.
It works when you're winning.
Right.
When you're not,
No one likes that.
no.
But also, whenever you hear like people that have left the Patriots organization, like I feel like the vibes that
It's
they
like getting
had-
out of prison.
Yeah, they weren't good. Like they
Yeah.
were like almost scared. Like
Almost scared. That's how I lived most of my life. Almost scared.
yeah, we're all always scared. That's true.
That is true. Well, let's roll from a sad situation to a crazy situation. Let's be honest, folks. What else do you call 81 points from Khalil Mack? This is the highest scoring IDP game. I think DJ KT was going back 15 plus years looking at like standout defensive performances.
Wow.
And nothing came close to Khalil Mack putting up 8 solos, 2 assists, 5 TFL, 6 sacks, 45 sack yards, 2 forced fumbles, 1 PD, 4 QB hits on 86% of snaps and 92.3 defensive grade by PFF. 81 points, Eddie. Take a bow, Khalil Mack. You are now edge 2 on the season.
That is just nuts. That is so cool, though. I mean, this was a guy that was getting dropped by people like Bob.
Sure.
But you just stick with the process, right?
Yeah.
We've seen like a decade of Khalil Mack being dominant. And even though the numbers weren't that great last year, like all the advanced metrics were fine. Like it's not like this guy was showing much of a drop-off. But, yeah, that's why you hold on to guys like this because they can do things like put up 6 sacks in a game.
Right.
Bob is really.
But did you start?
Bob hates this because he
But
made
did
the
you
biggest
start
mistake
it?
of his life this weekend, dropping Khalil Mack.
Do y'all realize that Van Ginkel is like edge 8 right now? Sorry, I was just looking to see
Yeah.
I don't doubt it.
if anyone, because Mack is now IDP number 2 on the season in Big 3 scoring.
Yeah.
That's nuts. That just. That shows you the magnitude of this game. And also that he had 18 points the first 3 weeks. So
Let's skip to player 5 there and see, why does Kenneth Murray have 2 solos and 2 assists on 100% of snaps? How homie getting 4 tackles? Because did Eric Kendricks play?
Yeah.
he did play, yes.
Okay. Well, maybe that explains it a little bit more. I thought Kenneth Murray was like it. I thought
Kendricks didn't get a lot of tackles either.
Okay.
It was a
Weird game.
Yeah.
Just Sir Taylor. got
Yeah, it was
8.2
actually,
points.
8 points there for Kenneth Murray. Jasir Taylor, Michael Davis, Asante Samuel, rounding out the list. The Chargers were banged up in this game. They were without Joey Bosa. They were without Derwin James. So there's a lot of guys filling in. Yeah, Kenneth Murray, 8 points on the week. Looks like Kendricks was, I wanted to see what he actually scored. So he was only 6.5 points on 50 snaps. So I think he actually played fewer snaps than Kenneth Murray did. Because Murray was at 73. So I think that will eventually flip back. I don't think this team's going to roll out Kenneth Murray as its LB1 once Kendricks is healthy and ready to go. But something to monitor because Murray has been playing well-ish very-ish in Eric Kendricks' absence. Well, I guess Max Crosby had an okay game, 30.2 points, 5 solos, 3 assists, 2 TFLs, 2 sacks, 2 QB hits, 100% of snaps. He was banged up going into this game as well.
100% of snaps.
100% of snaps. I mean, that's just that's nuts.
Banged up Max Crosby.
Max Crosby is not human.
Probably would have had 50 if he wasn't banged up.
Yep. Trayvon Merrick, 22.6 points, 6 solos, an INT, 2 PDs, 100% of snaps. He's been okay this season.
Sure.
But then, we get into some weird guys here. John Jenkins, defensive tackle, 11 points.
Marcus Peters.
And then Marcus Peters, 97% of snaps, 8.5 points. And then Adam Butler, defensive tackle, 8.25. Let's go to Sunday Night Football, though, because this was a fun game. You had Tay Swift in the house. You had Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds in the house. And Quincy Williams and C.J. Mosley put on a show for him. 30.75 points for Quincy Williams. 10 solos, 3 assists, 2 TFLs, 2 PDs, a QB hit, 96% of snaps. C.J. Mosley, 20.25 points, 4 solos, 7 assists, an INT, and a PD on 100% of snaps. Addy, John put out that amazing chart this past week talking about linebacker tackles allowed per team. So essentially, if you see a team at the top of this list, start your linebackers going against them. I think Kansas City was 4th playing the Jets. If you fired up your Jets LBs, you feel very good with this result.
Yes, thank you, Macker, for doing all that. That's really nice of you.
He did the DB and edge as well, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, Quincy Williams, dude, we got to start maybe giving him a little more respect in Dynasty too, because he is secured there in New York. You know, they gave him, I think it was like a 3-year deal. So maybe guaranteed wise, it's more of a 2-year type deal. But even so, I mean, if you're going to get this type of production for the next 2 years, I mean, that's
pretty nice.
Really valuable.
Yep.
And then, CJ Mosley, he's almost 30 now. So, I mean, I think there's a chance that he might not be there next year. So it could just be Quincy being like that main linebacker.
Wouldn't that be cool?
But yeah, I mean, this is, I never expected really Quincy's career to turn out the way it has, where he's, still a extremely relevant asset for us.
Especially after the way, it was Jacksonville, right?
It was Jacksonville.
Flamed out there.
Got cut there.
Yep.
I don't. Did he land anywhere else in between the Jets?
I don't
He went
think
straight to
so.
the
I think
Jets?
he went Jacksonville to the Jets.
Just a perfect spot for him. Cool story there with his brother, and that's a great defense.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you watch Quincy Williams, like that
Playmaker.
hitting the hell out of people.
Yes.
Just fun. He's a fun linebacker.
Him and C.J. Mosley both. Mosley's approaching 30, but still hard-hitting linebacker.
He's good.
Yeah, he was put on waivers by the Jags August 31st, 2021.
Wow.
Jets claimed him off waivers September 1st, so a day later.
Wow.
So good for him. Good for CJ.
Jaguars could use him.
Yes, they really could.
I mean, they would have maybe not had to draft Devin Lloyd.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Give Foyce Aluakin $1 trillion or whatever and
traded
draft
Devin
2
Lloyd this
linebackers.
Foy
Y'all
and
see that?
Quincy would have been pretty sick. What was it?
I traded Devin Lloyd and a 4th for Antonio Gibson. Hurting at running back, but I'm worried that my sell Devin Lloyd window is quickly closing.
Yeah, it definitely could be.
So, I don't know.
Because what happens if Muma plays? Because they were talking up Muma a lot on that broadcast.
And he made 2 big plays at the end of the game, right? So I mean, yeah, that's not good. That's not what you want to hear if you're a Devin Lloyd fan.
And I know that Devin Lloyd is hurt, but the now you're giving Muma an opportunity to take your job. That's just not great.
And he's wearing them little skinny black wristbands,
Sure.
boy, looking like a 1980s wrestler. Love to see
Chad
it.
Muma is.
I hate that look. Just like the skinny little like.
It does nothing.
Yeah,
Does
just like
nothing.
around the elbow. It's almost like just like thin tape. or
I was
something.
watching the Toy Story one, so he was a little tiny
Nah, in high school,
figurine.
we used to take the thick ones that had like the Nike swoosh on them, and then you cut them down small.
Right,
Get 'em
right.
thin.
Around the logo.
Oh yeah.
So the logo's still there.
Yeah, you're getting that.
What
Nike
does that
logo
do?
there.
It's just
It's just for looks.
Yeah, it's a
purely
baller.
drip.
baller mentality.
like
Yeah.
a spoiler on a car.
Baller life.
Look good, play good.
I guess. Maybe. We'll see if it works for Chad Muma. Ashton Davis at 3rd there with 11 points. Quinnen Williams, 8.5. Bryce Huff, 8.25. Boys, let's have the Quinnen Williams conversation. 5.67 points per game average the first 3 weeks. 66% of snaps for Big Q in this game. Just 8.5 points.
Bust.
Yeah, like not a great start to the season for Big Q.
It's okay.
He's
My
okay,
dog gets
folks.
paid. We're
He's
not
gonna be fine.
We're not panicked.
He's gonna be
not-
fine.
What
He's
are the
not
do
Khalil
we,
Mack.
do
Don't
we
drop
have
him.
do we have the numbies for Quinnen Williams as far as like any kind of pressure rate or anything like that, Eddie?
Yes, we can get that. But first, I want to highlight my boy Bryce Huff. We cannot wait till he gets the hell out of New York. It's going to happen probably this offseason. 26.9% pressure rate for Bryce Huff.
Wow.
So, guy just needs an opportunity elsewhere. Reminds me a lot of Uchenna, honestly, the Bryce Huff situation.
Ooh, that's a good comp. I like that.
All right. We're looking at Quinnen.
Big Q's numbers because the other numbers we've been seeing in the box score not been good. So give me some underlying.
Really nice. 14.9% pressure rate for Quinnen Williams. So, yeah, I mean, I'm showing 11.3 on week 4. Maybe I got to update that. But, I mean, he had, 12.75 week 1, 13 week 2, 11.25 week 3, and then you're saying 6 this past week.
No, it was 11.3. Yeah.
What are we doing? What are we
so
afraid of?
probably averaging about 11 points per
What
game.
are we afraid of? That's really nice. Everyone needs to kind of calm down with their expectations a little bit. I mean, that's extremely solid. When he starts sprinkling in sacks, it's going to be amazing. So that pressure rate is awesome. It's him and Aaron Donald with the 2 best pressure rates for defensive tackles. So, yeah, everyone chill out. The sacks will come. Probably going to come in bunches. So.
I mean, just saying the sacks will come. They'll come in bunches. It's just a lot of innuendos tonight, Eddie. I need you to chill it out just a little bit.
I'm horny, Josh.
That's true. Can't blame you there. Let's wrap up the Sunday slate with the Chiefs. And Mike Edwards led the way, 20 points, 4 solos, 1 TFL, 1 sack, 1 PD, 1 QB hit. Chris Jones, man, I almost hit on a 5-leg parlay this game. Was 1 tackle short from Jordan Whitehead. So that'd been my first one. That's the closest I've ever gotten.
Underdog, thanks you, Josh.
Yes, Underdog, thanks you for the $5. 15.95 points
Somebody
for Chris
at Underdog
Jones.
thinking, man,
Yeah, man.
Josh almost hit on that.
Yep.
Yeah, I hate that for him.
Got that like that that commercial for, was it Geico, the old guys with the dollar bill? You got to be a little quicker next time.
That's all gambling companies, dude.
Yep.
They're really good at what they do.
They really are. Those lines are so frustratingly good.
Yeah.
Chris Jones, 75% of snaps. Got him a sack. 2 QB hits, 2 solos and assists. Drew Tranquil filling in for Nick Bolton, 15.5 points, 100% of snaps, 7 solos, 1 assist, 1 forced fumble, 1 QB hit. Willie Gay, 10.5 on 76% of snaps. Been bad the first 3 weeks, though, but he had 3 solos, an assist, a PD, and a QB hit. And then Mike Dana, 8 points, 13.72 points per game the first 3 weeks on 85% of snaps this week. So
I think that team missing Nick Bolton.
Mm-hmm.
I say what you want to about Drew Tranquil, and I think that, you know,
for IDP, he's a fine fill-in.
For where we got him in IDP, he's okay. But as far as like an NFL player, I don't know. I thought Tranquil looked a little bit lost at times yesterday in a full role, 100%. I don't know. Adam, you may have a very stark difference to my opinion there. No? Okay. All right.
No.
I thought he was fine. I mean, but I didn't think Bolton was.
Oh, so we're gonna go that way.
I mean,
huh? So
your boy was on record about saying you shouldn't stay away from Nick Bolton.
Now, injury is a little different than poor play.
Luckily, he has the injury to bail him out right now.
Oh, okay.
And people can say because of injury, but there's
okay.
still 4 capable linebackers there. you know?
It is worrisome because
I don't
Tranquil
like it.
played fine.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like the. I mean, Bolton was like LB3. I like Bolton fine. I don't like him as LB3.
Okay, let's say.
Oh, I agree. As far as ADP, it's
when he's
terrible,
back
but-
healthy, over under 90% of snaps. When Bolton is back fully healthy, no snap count, no restrictions, nothing. Over under 90% of snaps that first game.
Like no snap count.
No snap count, no
Over.
restriction.
Over.
Over.
Yeah, over.
Over. I'm nervous.
That's the leader of that defense, man.
I mean, I don't think it's gonna be like. I think it's gonna be like an 80 to 90 range.
Okay.
So I mean,
Be something to track. We'll see. What was the injury? He should be back next week, right? Was it?
it
was
wasn't
pretty
a long-term
serious
thing. I don't remember.
I think he's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just not going,
That
head
Chiefs
over heels
team,
about him.
Chiefs team just kind of broke right now. There's just not a lot of stuff that's working on both sides of the ball, I think. You know, FAU, we're not really talking about him very much. Karlaftis has kind of been slow to start the season.
And then also L'Jarius Sneed's been kicked outside
Yeah,
now, and
yeah.
out he's
McDuffie's
not.
inside.
Yeah, no McDuffie, no Snead reference here.
And Sneed hasn't really been that productive on playing corner.
McDuffie has shown some times of relevance, but
he's not L'Jarius Sneed.
I 100% agree with that. I think Snead needs to be back inside. Now, I don't know if McDuffie is like really an outside corner.
Probably not.
I don't know if he
Kinda
fits that
small.
role well.
No.
But then you've got Justin Reed hasn't really popped off. It is nice to see Mike Edwards here, but he hasn't really done anything outside of that. Justin Cook has been really quiet. I don't know if they still have that Watson dude. They have a lot of really fun players. I just kind of, I don't know. It's a weird something's not working there.
Something stinks.
Yeah.
Something stinks. Well, I think
Even
it could
offensively
be
too.
the
man.
lack of wide receivers they have.
Dude. If you got Sky Moore MVS, you better hurry up. I think I don't know, some moves are about to be made.
If it's not for Travis Kelce and Isaiah, I'm punishing the turf Pacheco.
That's my boy.
That offense would be dead in the water.
I think Rashee Rice is the guy that if Mahomes is going to get Rice, it's Rice.
I understand
Wow. If he's gonna
wanting
get right,
to
it's gonna be with Rice.
offload Tyreek and just kind of do a committee. But good God, give the best quarterback in the NFL some actual weapons to throw to.
I literally
Listen to these wide receivers you're saying.
they're kind of Tom Brady in him, to where it's like, all right, you got Gronk, but we're just going to have a bunch of just,
Yeah.
Patrick,
guys
we're gonna
running
need your
around.
wife to come down here and or Taylor Swift. You're like 6'1". You can play in the slot.
Jackson.
Yeah, exactly. Get out here so we can have you line up against like Aiden Hutchinson or something.
Do some type of TikTok move and shake that defender.
Do it, Jackson. Let's talk about the last 2 games here, and let's go back in time to Thursday Night
sprouts in the
Football. Jerry Jacobs led the way for the Packers and Lions with 38 points. It was specifically, 37.65 points. He had 5 tackles, but 2 interceptions. So good job, Jerry Jacobs. The headline, though, Quay Walker booming once again. Had a little bit of a down week. Week 3, 6.75 points, 22.25 points, 19 total tackles in week 4 against the Detroit Lions. So Quay Walker equals very good. Rudy Ford was there at number 3 between the two teams, 21.6 points 8 tackles, and an INT. John Kaminsky, Aiden Hutchinson had a nice little game there, 19.95 points, 2 tackles, 1.5 sacks. So congratulations to Aiden Hutchinson, continuing to look amazing. Devontae Wyatt with 19. Let's see if there's any other ones. Oh, Keyshawn Nixon there. I think it was almost purely off of the he had 2 total tackles and then just a bunch of return yards, I think. Someone tweeted, like, why does Keyshawn Nixon keep running it out of the end zone? And Aaron was like, we love this for IDP. Please shut up and let Nixon keep running it out of the end zone.
Yeah. 5 for 116
Yeah.
kick returns, 1 for 34 punt return.
There you go. So Brian Branch, 11.75 points. I think he got banged up in this game.
He did.
That seems to be maybe a thing with him. He's getting a lot of these stingers, but, like I mentioned in the last episode, kind of reminds me of Buda Baker.
Yep.
Kind of an undersized guy. The way he kind of throws his body around, that could be a thing with him.
Yep. Isaiah McDuffie filling in for Devondre Campbell, 7 tackles, 11.25 points. So serviceable replacement there. Alex Anzalone, God, can we get this guy off the field? 9.25 points, just 5 tackles. This guy has got to go. And, that's it as far as Thursday Night Football.
Quay, though, oh, boy.
Quay be good.
Top 3 Dynasty LB, boys.
I mean,
yeah, probably.
who's ahead of him right now?
Roquan.
I mean,
Definitively, Roquan, I think, is number 1, and I think that would be consensus if you asked, 100 IDP
Probably Roquan,
players.
and then I think a lot of people would say, like, Foye.
Oh, I don't know about that.
But Foye's getting up there in age. I mean, Foye's going to be 28, I think.
And I think
next
you could
offseason.
almost even say, like, the direct, like, if you were just looking at them both in redraft for just this season, obviously Quay is younger, which appeals to us in Dynasty. But you say in redraft, like Quay or Foye, that's a legitimate conversation for Quay to be ahead of Foye, I feel like.
Is there anybody else in contention for LB2 right now in Dynasty besides Foye and Quay Walker?
It would be someone like
Patrick Queen
Jack Campbell.
Jack Campbell.
in redrafts.
You
Are you talking about Dynasty or redraft?
Yeah,
Dynasty.
I got you. I mean, honestly, though, in redraft, Pat Queen has been really good. But, yeah, Dynasty.
I mean, Fred Warner, potentially, if you think that he's going to age really nice, which we do.
What are we doing with Ernest Jones in Dynasty?
He's up there. I
Yeah.
mean, he's top
10?
10, top 12 probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Zaire?
Zaire.
Zaire's got to, I mean, the thing is, there's not a lot of, like, sexy
Yeah.
LBs for Dynasty, you
Sure.
know? So, yeah, I think Zaire, I mean, if you think he's going to, it reminds me of Foye a lot with Zaire. A lot of Zaire just kind of, we're like, oh, this guy's not a good linebacker when we look at the grades and stuff. But who cares? He's got the captain patch. He's under contract.
That's what he leads with.
He's
got the captain patch.
Sure.
his
That's in the logs.
his
Captain patch.
first name starts with a Z.
Yeah.
And that's kind of sick.
Okay.
And that's really it.
Okay.
That's some great analysis there, folks.
But honestly, I think Zaire's fine for like a 2-year window, and so that has value in Dynasty. But I mean, you don't want to get out over your skis for any of these guys, right? I mean,
Ooh, great reference there.
because I don't know. It just
Y'all ever got out in front of your skis?
I've never
before?
skied. We'll never ski.
Water or
Nope.
Snow?
Nope.
Joshua.
Mm-mm.
Why
Nope.
not?
So my parents went skiing one time when they were probably a little younger than I am now, and Mom crashed through a fence, and
Oh,
so we never
wow.
went skiing as a family. And I think I'm not athletic enough at this point to like start skiing. So yeah, it just kind of passed me by, and honestly, I'm fine with that.
So I took a trip in high school. Same similar situation. Real quick, girl goes to get off of the lift. Everybody's like, "You skied before?" She was like, "No, but I think I'll be okay." Goes down the steepest, straightest run, just tucks, just gets into the slalom type mentality of just see how fast I can go. Wasn't wild, wasn't out of control, just didn't know how to stop. I forget where we were. I guess it was Perfect North, where the lodge is at the bottom. Runs directly into brick building at the bottom of the snow resort.
my God.
Broke like both of her arms.
Broke both of her
horribly.
arms. Yeah.
So she did get out in front of her skis, I guess you could say.
Yeah. See, no, thank you. Just not interested.
It's so fun, Josh. Oh
There's
my
a lot
gosh.
of things that are fun
Water
that
skiing,
don't
snow
break
skiing.
both your arms.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you break those bones or you get hurt, dude, I feel just so dumb.
Yeah, I can't lift my kid up now. My wife's got to do
yeah,
everything with
so
the kids.
dumb.
I was telling Josh this before you got here, but I was washing the truck, hand washing yesterday, and fell out the back of the truck. Went to put my foot on the bumper, and it was wet, and I just slipped and fell from like 4 feet.
Oh, dang.
And my neck's kind of been hurting while we're potting. If I look like I'm over here like cricking it, but
How'd you land?
I just landed like on my like left knee, and then like kind of on my side.
Oh, God.
And it was from kind of far. Like a truck bed is like 4 feet,
Pretty
or
high
whatever.
up.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good little
And it was
spill.
immediately one of those like what's broken type assessments. Like you hit the ground and it's like that was not good. But
Yeah.
hey, I'm
Good.
athletic.
You're here.
Thank goodness.
You're hard-headed. That's
I will
right.
say, we're not at the
My
age
knee
where
hurts
it's
like crazy though.
where we're like breaking hips while you need like life alert. But a spill in your mid-30s, you're questioning if your back's going to be messed up. You know, you pulled something. You're out of commission for a couple weeks at least.
Oblique. Me and
Jalen
Jalen.
got the oblique injury. Well, hey, let's wrap up here with Monday Night Football. So Devon with him, Spoon, tried his best to get you
Wow.
back in the matchup against Bobo.
Wow.
Going for a whopping 57.35 points. I think he's the number 2 scorer on the season. He had, as far as like performances go, now I think leapfrogs ahead of TJ Watt's week 1 performance. 7 tackles, 2 sacks, an INT, a touchdown. Just an all-around amazing performance from Devon Witherspoon.
Gosh. The Giants gave up 11 sacks.
That's nuts. Yeah, because I was going to say Bobby Wagner had, looks like 38.75 points, 17 total tackles, and 2 sacks. So just a tremendous performance from B-Wags. And then Uchenna Nwosu finally gets off the schneid, gets himself 6 tackles, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble for 28.9 points. I said it on the preview pod with John. Uchenna, this is your chance to ball out and stay in our lineups. And my man's responded. So very good to have him back in the sack column. And then on the same side, I called out Kayvon Thibodeau needing to get his ish together. And we see him with 27.8 points, 2 sacks, 2 tackles. So that's 3 sacks in the last 3 games for Kayvon, Addy.
I know. He's back. He's fine. Uchenna's back. He's fine. Like we mentioned a few times in this episode, you just got to calm down and just breathe. Guys start out slow. Guys have bad matchups to start. That stuff kind of works itself out and normalizes. So I think that's what we're seeing here.
We can't paper over Jordan Brooks. 10 tackles, 2
man.
sacks, 1 TFL.
Wow.
That dude is continuing to be very relevant in IDP.
Yeah, it's awesome to see. Really happy for Jordan Brooks. Just a medical marvel. 14.5 week 1, 11 and a quarter week 2, 11.5 week 3, 28.4 week 4. Yeah, 2 sacks, 10 tackles, 1 fumble recovery. Fantastic performance from Jordan Brooks. This was Bobby Okereke's best performance as well. 10 total tackles. He had 20.5 points by Big 3 scoring. So this was a big-time defensive output game for both sides. Julian Love,
Yeah.
I feel like I kind of cursed Jamal Adams because I said on the pod with John that, you know, okay, Jamal Adams is coming back. Julian Love is probably the guy whose snap share suffers the most because of that. Jamal Adams goes out with a concussion after 4 snaps. We'll see if he clears concussion protocol. But in the meantime, Julian Love has gone 14.25, 18.05, 13.75, 12.75. Addy, Julian Love has been very good this season.
Love to see it. Just stepping right into that Ryan Neal role and just being very productive with it. So I think that's going to be kind of how it continues. I mean, I love Julian Love. God, I did it again.
You did it again. You do love Julian
I don't mean
Love,
to do
though.
that. I'm really not trying to do that.
You absolutely are.
I'm not. I don't like that at all. It's like so corny and dumb. I'm just walking right into it.
Walking right into it, then walking back out and walking through it again.
Sure.
Just because you love it so much.
A lot of walking.
So there you go, folks. Week 4 recap is in the books. And, yeah, we're coming in under 2 hours. So good job, us. I think bye weeks start kicking in here maybe week 6, I
Yeah.
think. We got one more full week. We got a London game coming up in week 5. So
XFL Extension Day tomorrow, I believe.
that's right.
Oh, wow.
Happy
Oh,
Extension
geez.
Day to all those who celebrate on the RSO platform. So we got week 5 preview coming up with Evan and Jake on Wednesday night. Then we'll be back for the Week 5 recap, and then a little bit different schedule. We will actually be doing the Week 6 preview, and Jake and Evan will be doing the Week 6 recap because I'll be on my way to Toronto, Canada.
No.
On October, what is that, 15th?
Going to see Macri?
I am going to go see Macri.
Are you?
Yes, I'm going to be up there for work, and he lives about 45 minutes from Toronto, so we're going to get together Monday night and watch the game.
Wow.
This makes me feel a little bit better.
Is hockey being played right now?
I don't know.
Could you go see Toronto Maple Leafs?
That's right, but I don't know. I have no idea.
I know sports.
Yeah, if hockey's going on.
Ottawa Senators.
That's
Yeah.
actually a pretty good pull at it.
Canadian Canucks.
Is that
I think that's right.
yeah, I think you're right. A lot of Canadian teams.
The Canadian hockey team.
The Canadian
Like the,
Washington
for the
football team?
Olympics.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Oh yeah.
Didn't know where
the
you were
Mighty
going.
Ducks.
Yeah.
Anaheim.
We're going to get out of here, folks.
You gonna go see Drake?
Gonna go see Justin Bieber. So yeah, I'll be in Canada. So you'll see here in a couple weeks.
I
You'll
got
get
some
a
bacon.
double dose.
I need you to take to John.
Got some bacon?
We'll keep it on ice for you, John.
You know I'm not going to do that to you, John.
Come on, John.
But yeah, make sure you check out the website, theidpshow.com. Addie, why don't you tell the folks what we've been putting up here tonight?
Yeah, we got all the data and the logs out there on the website now for you to look at on your phone. You can go to the website and look at it if you want, but I mean, it looks amazing on the phone, which I think is how most people kind of view things these days. But yeah, this is just something we've been wanting for a long time to be able to put it's snaps, tackles, and point logs.
Yep.
And you can sort, by column and kind of see where players rank among, those categories. So it's really cool. We're going to keep adding stuff to it. But yeah, just another upgrade that we've made.
Yep. So this is something we've been wanting to do for a while. We appreciate y'all's patience as we migrate everything from the various spreadsheets that we had over to the website, and the logs are in process. DBs, linebackers, they're up right now. DL is in the works, and DL also includes sacks. So you'll be able to sort by, like Adam said, and that'll be the entire season. So you'll be able to see weeks 1 through 18, points, snaps, tackles, sacks, and then an overview essentially showing points per snap, points per game, total points, sweet spot percentage for DBs. It's everything you want, folks. It is an IDP database, and it's available for paid supporters over at theidpshow.com. So make sure you check it out, in addition to all of the other paid resources that we have. So appreciate y'all tuning in. Like I said, we will be back next Monday for the Week 5 recap, and Jake and Evan will be previewing Week 5 on Wednesday. So the wheel keeps turning, boys. But until next time, y'all enjoy the football, and we'll see you soon.
It's the IDP show, now you know.